Good evening from the Kia Oval, where you join us ahead of a mouth-watering clash between two southern border rivals. Surrey play host to big-hitting Kent in a game littered with international quality and pedigree right the way through. And with the weather set fair, we are just a few minutes from the start. The news here is that Surrey have won the toss and will bowl first. All the details to come. But before Ali Brown and myself, Phil Walker, get into it, just a note on behalf of all of us here really involved on the broadcast following the devastating news coming out of Ahmedabad earlier today. Our hearts go out to everyone involved, to the families of the victims, and to a nation now in mourning. It is cricket, perhaps above all else, which binds India and England together, and that's what we're here to showcase tonight. The game does go on, of course. And without further ado, we have an exclusive chat with Surrey's star overseas, Mitch Santner, who's picked up 3 for in Surrey's recent impressive victory against tonight's opponents, Kent.
Well, it's my great pleasure to be joined by Surrey overseas player Mitch Santner, joining us here at the Kia Oval ahead of tonight's game. Mitch, thanks very much for your time before we get underway tonight. First of all, how have you been settling in here for this campaign?
Yeah, it's been good so far. Obviously a nice club to play for and on a great ground. And yeah, it should be pretty full tonight, which is good.
Yeah, we had a bit of a false start with the weather in your debut here, but like you say, big crowd tonight, Thursday night, famous here at the Kia Oval. You looking forward to the atmosphere?
Yeah, no, I've heard good things. Obviously played here a few times, and I guess the 100 and for New Zealand, but it's always nice to play here. The crowd's always good, you know, an electric atmosphere, and yeah, it was a shame we obviously had to rain out that night, but it's nice to see the sun out for once in the UK.
Now, you've played all over the world in leagues all over the world. Just give us an idea of how the Blast compares. Obviously, it has a pretty quirky format, quirky schedule, but in terms of the quality of the cricket, what do you make of it?
Yeah, I think, like you said, the schedules, you know, you kind of wrap it in between some 4 days, but in terms of the quality, it's up there for sure. You know, I've enjoyed playing this comp, played for Worcester a few times, and it's nice to be in London and play here. But yeah, like you said, the quality is good, and it's a great comp.
It was a difficult night the other night with the weather. You know, for spinners, always tricky when it's a bit damp. But you showed what you could do the other night in that win against tonight's opponents, Kent Spitfires. Is that a real, you know, a nice confidence boost for you settling into the team? I know you've been there and done it everywhere, but always good to make a bit of an impact early in a campaign.
Yeah, it's always nice. I think, yeah, first thing is to do it for the team, and it was a team outing, you know, to get us to a good score and then defend on a pretty good wicket. And yeah, I guess, you know, one side was quite small, so I think, you know, we bowled quite smart to, you know, defend that score. And I guess tonight's usually a pretty good wicket, probably another high-scoring game. So yeah, nice to, I guess, get some confidence against Kent, and we know they're a quality side and they're going to come back tonight.
Does that game count for anything tonight, given that, you know, you played them a few days ago and got that win?
Yeah, I guess the nature of this, you roll on pretty quickly. You know, I guess we know we had an outing against them before. You know, a similar team. I guess they know how we're going to operate, and we, you know, the same for us. So on a different surface. But the boys, I guess, used to playing here at the Oval. You know, generally a little bit more bounce and you know, a pretty good wicket and a fast-scoring ground. So probably runs on the board again.
You know, I think we'll be in for a treat, as will everyone here at the Kia Oval. Final question from me. Laurie Evans tells me he's a much better golfer than you. Is that true?
I think that's the battle that everyone's been waiting for. I'll have to get some practice in before I take him down for sure.
Mitchell Santner there, going to be a key man you fancy for Surrey this evening, who have won the toss and have invited Kent to have first go on what looks like a relatively green and lively surface, as we've come to expect here at Kia Oval. It is a really big game for these two teams. They've been simmering so far in the league. A couple of wins apiece from 4. Surrey 1-2, lost 2, and a no result for Kent. They've just lost the 1 game, but that was a significant one because it came against Surrey in the corresponding fixture last week, and it was a commanding win for Surrey by 42 runs. Just running through the teams then. Surrey first, and a couple of changes from their performance that came against Kent last week. Sibley, who's been an ever-present up top, is actually going to be opening with Will Jacks. Jacks coming in for Ollie Pope, who is now going to be off with England for the rest of the week ahead of next week's opening test match against India. Jason Roy in at 3, Sam Curran at 4, the skipper, of course. Laurie Evans carded to come in at 5 and keeping wicket today, folks. Just his 8th game as a professional cricketer donning the gloves. He's in at 5. Tom Curran comes back into the side. Gordon Clark, the man to make way. Curran down at 6. Mitch Santner, Ollie Sykes, young left-hander who is making a good impression here at Surrey. Not done too much yet with the bat, but plenty of promise, and he's retained his position in the mid to lower order. And Chris Jordan, Nathan Smith, Dan Worrell to bring up the rear 9-10 jack. And over to Kent, the visitors. A beautiful opening partnership, what really one for the purists. Daniel Bell-Drummond and Tuenda Mayeye, both players in form. Beautiful on the eye as well, and they will get things going this evening, both in good nick. Bell-Drummond on the back of a good 61 against Hampshire in a commanding win, statement win really, a few days back. A middle order of Joe Denley, 39 years young, still going strong and in good form. Sam Billings, the Kent skipper, at 4. Jack Leaning at 5. Harry Finch 6. Grant Stewart 7. And then the bowlers Tom Rogers, Wes Agar, Nathan Gilchrist, and the leggy Matt Parkinson. Ali Brown is here with us this evening. My name's Phil Walker. We'll be joined later by Yaz Rana. We'll be bringing you every ball this evening of a game which promises much. The weather is set fair, the clouds are high. The lights are just beginning to take effect. We'll get a good one in here. And there's much riding on it as both teams look to really establish their position towards the top end of the South Group. How do you see this one, Alistair?
Yeah, well, it's a mouth-watering clash, isn't it? I mean, two of the bigger sides in the competition. I think there's probably 5 in the group that have got real aspirations for the top 4 spots, and I think Kent didn't really. They've played 3. They've played 2 very well, and I felt they just weren't at the races last week. I think they bowled with too much width, and was definitely their poorest performance of the 3. But the other 2 games they played really well. So it is a potential banana skin for Surrey tonight. I think having Will Jacks back in the attack is great to have him up front. And of course Kent lose Zach Crawley, which I think is a big loss for them. I think he's been in great form at number 3. Not just the runs he's scored, but the rate he's scored them. But yeah, two very strong sides, and I think Kent will be looking to avenge last week's defeat.
Yeah, absolutely. It was perhaps their one dud performance of a summer of promise in the T20 tournament. Zach Crawley, as you say, is a big loss. He's come into real form in this tournament, but England will be not too displeased to see that. He and Ollie Pope make way, join up with the England side ahead of next week. But Kent have a lot of quality and explosivity in their batting lineup. Harry Finch comes in the middle order, and it's a strong pedigree-looking middle order as well. Joe Denley, Sam Billings, Jack Leaning, a lot of experience, a lot of big game temperament in there as well. And as I said at the top of the show, in Mayeye and Daniel Bell-Drummond, you'll struggle to find a more attractive opening pair. If they get going, then we should be in for a classic. It's going to be Dan Worrell then to get us going from the Stewart Members Pavilion end. Good atmosphere out here tonight, you can sense it. Punters were spilling in from Oval Tube. It was standing room only on the platform at London Bridge as I came in myself about an hour ago. Good to see cricket alive and well. A real buzz around the place this evening. 2 slips now. Will Jacks has joined Dom Sibley there in the office, and Laurie Evans. Might be a couple of butterflies taking the gloves for the first time in many a year. It's the 8th professional game where he's kept wicket. Surrey, of course, have a plethora of keeping options. So just 2 men out, of course. Deep third and a backward square. And runs immediately into the onside. And in fact, that might just run away 4-4. Not exactly where Yeah, intended, but he will take it. Thank you very much. And so he's away with a slightly fortuitous boundary four. Like he was trying to punch through the offside, Ali.
Yeah, good start for Dan Worrell, and unfortunate for that to be clipped off the inside edge. But it's probably one of the shorter boundaries down there, and he's found it. It's raced off.
Yeah, it is quite a central pitch this time. We were quite surprised that it is so central, so close to that Test match coming up in a few weeks. Bit of shape. And that's Dan Worrell's line. That's where he lives, just outside off stump.
I think there was a bit more pace in this wicket. I mean, it is a tinge green, but that doesn't mean it's going to nip around. It can mean you get a quicker surface, which would be good. And I think Surrey undone in the Hampshire game with a slower surface that's been used in the ODI and, of course, used in the women's game before the men's match last week.
And that's well timed, and that will run away for his second boundary four already. So Mieye quickly into his work, just a touch short. He needs no second invitation. He can create shots from anywhere. Can this young right-hander? He's got all the talent in the world.
A very good shot, and I think gives an indication of the wicket. Surrey taking a slip out already. It's a good pace wicket, a bit quicker than the one against Hampshire, and a higher score likely.
Scores of 20, 26, 34 and 42 so far this year. And so he has threatened without dominating yet. But from Kent's point of view, if there's someone at the top order in the top six, in those opening 6 overs can be as consistent as that, then it's good signs. So he's in decent form, decent nick.
Just looks a nice, easy pace wicket. The first few balls on it, and I think the openers obviously trying to find what they think will be a good par score. And I often think that somewhere between 160 and 180 is where you look. I'd probably say on the first few balls, 180 is closer to where you might be looking.
The minesweepers, they're out and about already. These opening bats. Belldrummer to face up. Just drops his bat on that one and is off the mark straight away. So a tidy start for Kent. 10 from the first. DJ is in good form as well. Gorgeous evening ahead of us here. It was a bit murky a couple of weeks ago for the first home game. Lacked for a touch of atmosphere, and in the end was tied up rather unsatisfactorily, really, with the rain coming in and dampening what could have been a decent finish. Surrey falling away in that one against Hampshire, but this has all the makings of a classic contest. So it's going to be Sammy Curran as skipper to take the new ball from the Vauxhall end. One slip and a fly slip, if you like. Bit of movement already into the pads. That Belldrummer quietly into the onside. So an increasingly popular position is this. If we just bring it up on the line of gully, perhaps fourth slip, but right on the edge of that circle for the slash. A run saver as much as a catcher.
I think it also stops a lot of players like to run it down. Jose being one of them loves to run the ball down to third man, and certainly makes you think.
It was there for Mieye, but in fact just overreaching for it, and Sam Curran will have to bowl that one again.
The thing about having that sort of fifth slip, it also, you almost basically saying, can I go between 1.5 and fifth slip, which that is, and sometimes if you try and get a bit cute with it, that's the one you can nick behind. So I like the field.
Definite shape into the right-hander. Yeah, mindful and content just to play it out into the offside, nothing doing. No cover on the offside boundary, so anything that bisects those two who are in tight in the covers will run away, of course.
It's an indication of the line he wants to bowl as well, which is very much sort of middle through that area.
Gone straight, he's got enough of it. That is a touch of real class. Authentic brilliance by one of the most talented young players in the game. First maximum then, and it's Miyeye to deliver. Glorious.
Outstanding shot into the covers. That's gone 20 yards back. Great camera position as well to hold that position, and you know, very impressive. Not overhitting. I said the wicket looks a good one, but you know, to hit a shot of that class at this stage of the game is a man in good form.
Miyeye away then, off to a flyer, 15 from 7. Playing a miss, rather leaden-footed. It's there to hit.
Was that a hit? Just went slightly away that time. There hasn't been a great deal of swing so far. A little bit of shape, but yeah, good ball there, just passing the outside edge.
Nicely concealed Slowey. A much useful dot ball. So can Sam Curran get out of this over 8? Conceded already.
I think both sides would say honours even at this stage. Last week the ball was holding in the wicket a little bit more, and you can tell just by some of the slips coming out and slightly more defensive field that it's a good track.
2 men out on the leg side now. Quick single. Bell Drummond was on his heels, but a slight fumble at mid-off is enough, and Miyeye gets through. So retains the strike. He's dominated the opening couple of overs here. 16 already to his name, 19 for no loss. Tight opening. Does feel like a really significant game for these two sides as they move into the second half of their campaigns. Played 4 already, both of them in the middling positions of this South group. But a win tonight for either side, and it does propel them into the second half of their campaign. Much riding on this one. Miyeye to face up. And another play and a miss outside of something. There's 3 now.
It is a big game for both sides, isn't it? I mean, you think just a third of the way through the competition, and you know, for two sides that could very conceivably finish in the top 4, if Surrey were to go 3 losses, which you know, they've probably only got another couple of losses, but before they start, you know, relying on others for a home quarter final, which is much sought after.
That does beat the 2 men. There wasn't much in it. Mitch Santner will pull it in. They will get back for a useful 3. Yeah, he looks in lovely touch here. Again, just waiting for it. Punching it square. And it runs away, of course, here at the Oval. For those who haven't had the privilege to be out there in the middle, imagine batting on the top of an upturned saucer. The ball just runs away either side. It's good, tight line.
I think it's a fraction slower than the outfield. It looks quite lush, doesn't it?
It does.
I mean, there have been times in the past, if you probably go back 20 years, this used to be just brown, the outfield, and if you know, that sort of nudge would be 4. Of course, sometimes you get it a little bit quicker when you get it over some of the net wickets, which that just avoided, but yeah, just slowed up a touch, but a good wicket and a good outfield.
The one-hander doesn't get much of it. Yeah, the parched outfield of 1976 and other years we haven't quite got there yet. It's been a dry summer up until now, but a bit of rain in the last week and a half just moistened things up. We saw it in the one-dayer here, England, West Indies. It wasn't quite the lightning outfield that we've come to accustomed to this place. Driven, and Chris Jordan just out of reach. If anyone's going to get there, it would have been him. Despairing drive. Drummond picks up his first boundary. Kent edging the opening stages here, 26 for no loss inside the third.
Confident use of feet. Yes, getting back to the outfield, the players would definitely favour a green outfield. When it's a bit parched, you do throw yourself on the floor, but you don't always want to.
Worrell bang on the money. So, got to finish. 3 gone. 26 for no loss. Mieye been the main aggressor so far. 19 from 12, including a stunner, really. An effortless straight 6 in the previous over. Sam Curran's first. And he's already ringing the changes.
I like that from Sam Curran. I think that's what you want, just to mix it up a little bit. Players to get through. They might even bowl 1 over spells, some of them, just to keep mixing it up. It looks a good wicket. Just under 9 and over, I think, is a roundabout par. So good change.
So it's going to be Nathan Smith. Bowling changes brought to you by SSE Energy Solutions, our sponsors for this one. Doing some great work here at the club. Nathan Smith is a useful option for Sam Curran. Muscular, quick, useful lower order hitter as well. Making his way in Test cricket for New Zealand. And settling in nicely here at the Oval. Bang on off stump, and Drummond comfortably angles another single behind square. So brings Mieye back on strike. I feel like much of Kent's hopes this evening rest on this opening pair, and one of them going big. There's no Zach Crawley in the lineup, who's been in excellent form, dominant form, and much needed for him and indeed for England, but he's not here tonight. Tidily played behind square into the gap, and it does beat the man on the boundary, and so Mitch Santner can't haul it in. Third boundary alongside that 6, and Mieye is well into his work here.
Great shot, just clip off the legs, and absolute value for the shot. There's plenty of pace on the outfield there.
Awareness of the field as well.
Very well timed. This certainly looks a wicket that you want to be very wicket to wicket. I think any room and pace on the ball is going to be punished quite severely. You want to get hit straight. If you get hit towards the square boundaries, those are obviously hard to defend. And this looks a far higher scoring wicket than the one we saw last week.
Got enough of that. Drummond will pick up 4. Thank you very much. Unpopulated at deep cow, climbs into it. Wasn't too short by Nathan Smith, but Drummond expecting a heavy ball, standing tall and clobbering it. It's a good start.
Deep mid-wicket going back now, and third man coming up.
Same spot, and it will beat Will Jack. So back-to-back boundaries. Nathan Smith just a bit peeved with himself, dragged the couple down. 4 gone, 41 for no loss. Definitely looks like a pitch where you can really let yourself go here as a batter. there was a slight, perhaps, stodginess to the pitch that we encountered against Hampshire a couple of weeks back. Bit of rain around as well, bit of moisture in it. Slightly kind of cloying surface, but this one looks flat and true and quick.
Absolutely, I think you can absolutely trust the bounce this week, which at times in the Hampshire game, you just held a fraction. Players just expecting it to come on quicker than it did, but it's coming on nicely tonight.
So another bowling change. Chris Jordan, SSE Energy Solutions bowling changes for us. Quick single and well judged. If they both go straight away with that telepathy that you get as opening pairs, as these two have batted together for many years now, it's very, very hard to contain
the early
rhythm and tempo here.
The positive nature of the start has meant that Surrey have pushed back on the circle, which is when you can pick up the singles. So a few overs ago they'd been a little bit tighter, but because they've both sides have seen how good the wicket is, there are singles there to be had, especially on the leg side.
Driven gloriously. A real classy, proper cricket shot by Daniel Bell-Drummond. Just breaks the wrists on it, punches it down the ground through straightish mid-on. There aren't many tougher shots in the game, and he makes it look an absolute doddle.
It's a great shot back through mid-on, and just gives you an idea of the class of this wicket. The batting has been very impressive these first 4 overs, but yeah, I think a high scoring prospect.
Goes up for that, does Chris Jordan. Just wondering if it may have squeezed into the pad before the bat, but nothing doing by the umpire. Jordan just politely inquiring what that might have hit first.
Well, I think Jason Roy's also inquiring, but you're very unlikely to get a decision from mid-on.
You can see what they were asking for. Hard to see to the naked eye. It was a tight one, though.
I think it was probably
Throwing into the top of that flap on the front pad. Advances, loses his shape. Jordan coming back well here.
Interesting to see how the Surrey bowlers use a change of pace, because I do think that if you pick up 1 wicket here, will change the momentum. There's not as much strength in depth as there has been in previous weeks. They've still got a very good batting lineup, but losing Zach Crawley, they don't have that player that can score at that rate as they have done for the last few games. But I think we'll see plenty of variation in the coming overs.
Gone high this time. Sam Curran says, "This is mine." Easy as you like. Chris Jordan then into the attack and striking immediately.
Crucial wicket for Surrey. I think they'll be happy with where they are, Surrey. I don't think 46 off just under 5 overs looks like quite a lot, but I don't think. I think the next 3 overs, you've got a new batter coming in. I don't think they're in a bad place.
So, Bell-Drummond perishes, 46 for 1, Kent. And it's going to be Joe Denley in his 40th year, 20 years a pro. Has good memories of this place, of course. Played a defining Ashes innings here. In fact, it's not going to be Joe Denley, apologies. It's Harry Finch who they've brought him in for Zach Crawley, and he's replacing Zach Crawley in the lineup. And so it's going to be Harry Finch to chance his arm with just 7 deliveries left of the opening 6. See if he can make some hay. Jordan, though, this has been excellent. Conceded 5 from the first 2. Came back strong, picked up Bell-Drummond. So Spitfires 46 for 1.
Sam Curran calling for the helmet here for Laurie Evans, and it's Will Jacks from the this will be a good test for Laurie. I know he's had 7 games already. I think it'd be perfect taking Will Jacks to start with, but it'll be difficult with someone swinging hard in front of him.
So it's going to be Will Jacks from round the wicket. It's the current vogue for off-break bowlers. Beautifully played. Won't run away for 4. Slightly more lush outfield, but picks up another couple, just makes room. Miye looking in good order here. So Harry Finch caught me slightly by surprise. He even got the bearing of Joe Denley as well. Coming in for his first game in the Blast this year. Been making good runs for Kent twos. And given the nod, dragged down, but clothed rather into the onside, so just a single, and it will bring Harry Finch onto strike. Big opportunity for him.
I think Will Jacks would be happy to get Harry Finch on strike in a perfect way to hopefully chew a couple of dots and rotate the strike, get through a quieter over to end the power play.
Featured in all of Kent's 4-day games this year. It's Harry Finch, but making his T20 bow here. So he's away. And another single. Will Jacks deliberately driving it into the pitch, giving very little option here for the batters to advance or to get underneath it. So a couple of deliveries left of the power play. Does float this one, and Harry Finch punches it straight to Chris Jordan. Pick up a single. Just drops on him.
Good bowling from Will Jacks. He's deliberately bowling it into the wicket to get pulled so he doesn't get hit down the wicket, and trying to convince Harry Finch that he's going to do the same again. And at that point, just gives it a little bit of flight, but I don't think we'll see the same flight this ball.
So then, the ebb and flow of the first 6. Dominated by Miye initially, but Surrey coming back strongly, removing Daniel Bell-Drummond. Probably even Stevens, 53 for 1 inside the first 6. One thing we can say is that there is runs in this pitch. Surrey bringing the changes again. It's going to be a first look at Mitchell Santner, powered by SSE Energy Solutions. Climate change won't wait. It's time to hit the ground running with sustainable energy solutions. Change as well in the com box. Alistair Brown steps out for a cuppa, and Rana is in to join us.
Mitch Santner went very well against Kent in the reverse fixture last week. He'll like this Kent lineup, I think. Packed full of right-handers. Just one lefty in the Kent 11. That's Tom Rogers lower down the order. Santner made his Surrey debut in their previous home fixture here against Hampshire in that rain-affected defeat for Surrey. Went very well at Canterbury, 3 for 28 from his 4 overs. As you guys were saying, this pitch is pretty much in the middle here at the Kia Oval this week. So big square boundaries, and early on we've seen how the spinners will likely look to operate, firing it in on a length. Well, that one's given some flight. Finch picks up a single.
Yeah, it's good to see actually that the boundaries are really pushed out wide and far here. Sometimes you feel with T20 games in particular that the arenas are a little bit too squeezed, and it might favour the batter to a disproportionate degree. Not here.
think a lot of the time in the blast, we see a lot of the game being about managing one small side, almost to a dominated degree. Not so today. This time it is fired in. Gordon, as you'd expect at long on. But yeah, Santner has developed into one of the very best white ball finger spinners in the world. Captains New Zealand, of course, these days. Career economy rate of pretty much 7 runs and over. It's a very good start. Just 3 off his first 5 deliveries. Just 1 wicket so far, but I think Surrey will feel like they've done okay here. Just another single, so 4 runs from Mitchell Santner's first over of the evening. Kent 57 for 1 after 7. Phil, Mouillet is one of your favourites, isn't he?
Well, with good reason. Seen him play here. Well, I've seen him play all over the place, but I've seen him play here a number of times, and he always adorns the games between Surrey and Kent. But I've rarely seen him dominate yet. Kind of player who offers up a beautiful runnable 40 in a championship game.
Goes aerial Finch. Just about clears mid-off. I'll pick up a couple. Nathan Smith back into the attack from the Vauxhall end.
And you feel with him that the definitive score, the headline score, is always around the corner with him when he plays here. And then maybe 1 or 2 too many shots. He's got the lot, and sometimes he wants to play them all at once. But yeah, immense talent.
Into the pitch and pulled by Finch.
We were chatting, you and me, Yaz, to Sam Billings at a junket before the start of the season, and I asked him about how my boy was getting on, and he said, yeah, he's in good shape, he's in good fettle. He's in at 4 now in the championship side and making good runs. Began in his name really as an opener in championship cricket.
Helps that one round the corner. Doesn't quite time it, so it's only 1. But yeah, he's someone who people who know much more about this stuff than me and you, Phil, think he's very much capable of playing international cricket. This is one of his home grounds, actually. He's part of the overall Invincibles setup, and you might look at his overall career numbers and wonder, hang on, what's the fuss about? But there's been a few real statement innings over the last couple of years. Pulled firmly in front of square. It's just 1, but it's got Phil applauding in the commentary box.
Yeah, it's a big moment for Harry Finch. Not played yet this year in T20 cricket. It's a big ask as well. Slip in to Zach Crawley's shoes. I guess from the Spitfires' point of view, they want him to provide a buffer for the middle order to come as well, to ensure that there's enough overs with enough wickets in hand, so he's not in this side to go out there and bludgeon and score at strike rate of 180. But he's got to stay busy, knowing that Billings, Joe Denley et al. Are waiting in the hutch.
Yeah, he's been at Kent some time now, Harry Finch, but much more a part of their county championship outfit than their blast outfit. Dug in by Nathan Smith, given wide by the square leg umpire. Laurie Evans can't believe it behind the stumps. Yeah, looking at that field for that delivery, Chris Jordan in an extra cover, really tight, as was Sam Curran at mid-off, almost preempting the type of delivery we're likely to see. Changing the field now. Mid-on goes back to long on. Third is up in the ring. Finch gives himself a bit of room. Smith follows him. It's the end of the over, 8 runs from it. Kent 65 for 1 after 8.
Just back to me then this year, moved down to 4. Speaking to Billings about that decision, and he absolutely understood why. But he said he wouldn't mind seeing him back up the top in due course, really make some statement runs as opening bat. In the meantime, he's in at 4, and he's made a couple of sparkling hundreds already in red ball cricket this year, including an unbeaten 125 at a run a ball. The Marmalise, a big chase against Middlesex, a real statement win for Kent and Div 2 earlier in the year.
Played over extra cover. Finch came down the wicket. Santner saw him coming, so fired it in wide.
You been at Lord's today, Yaz?
Have not, no.
Yesterday?
No.
No. There's a game on, isn't there?
This is my week off, Phil.
Yeah, right. Same here. It's looking like a good game.
Yes.
Weather set fair tomorrow.
Again tossed up by Santner. And just one. Very, very steady start from the New Zealand overseas.
It's a joy to watch, isn't he? Something quite clinical about him.
Fired in this time, but again, only one. I think the very best finger spinners, regardless of the format, are, because objectively they're doing something so simple. You know, ambling in from 5 yards, bowling to the very best players in the world, but still are so effective, still as effective as the 6'5", 90 mile per hour seamer. Again, only one. Kent finding Santner very difficult to get away at the moment.
He's become an established world star, as Mitchell Santner. He carries that languid style, that insouciance of the New Zealander.
Bit of width again, under edge from Uyeye.
He's not flashy, he's not showy, but he just gets it done all around the world. And not just in white ball cricket either. He comes into that test side in the winter in India and is one of the stars of that extraordinary heist there. Those who may have forgotten, New Zealand went to India and won 3-0.
End of the over, 7 runs from it. Kent 72 for 1 off 9. Why is he so hard to get away?
Well, he's tall, he's accurate, he has variations, but the thing for me, there is no discernible change in what he does. Sometimes he bowls slightly more round arm, but that's the only change. And because he delays and delays and delays so long, he retains the control in that cat and mouse game between him and the batter. He anticipates any last move, any premeditation. He will see that, and because he delivers it so late, he has control.
Sam Curran back from the Vauxhall end. And again, into the pitch, pulled into the leg side. We'll see a lot of that today. Just back of a length. Protection on that leg side.
You will. It's not subtle. It's quite telegraphed, and it's increasingly in vogue now in T20 cricket. But it's damn hard to get away. There's reasons why we see it, because it works.
Variation this time from Curran. Excellent bowling. Field telegraphing that back of a length stuff into the pitch, but this time Curran really reduces the pace. It's something we've seen from him in the Blast this season. Bowling what I'm going to call the super slower ball. Really, really slows it down. I think one of the tests for the batters is, even though you might know what maybe half the deliveries in the over will likely be, there is still spaces to target if you can give yourself room. I thought one of the interesting things of the England-West Indies white ball series was England have so much spin in their side at the moment, they have to bowl spin in the power play. And quite often you saw either Liam Dawson or Bethel bowling early on. Pulled, and he's not got hold of that at all, but it will fall safely. And they'll scamper back for 2. And quite often Liam Dawson will be bowling to a right-hander at the start of the game with no protection on the offside boundary, and he's firing into leg stump. But the batters would give themselves room and cut balls that were outside leg stump through the offside. And I wonder if, knowing what is likely to come, Kent batters can potentially premeditate a little bit and attack that offside. Short again, pulled again, and just a single. Very, very good little spell this for Surrey. Haven't seen a boundary in some time.
Right, 1 delivery to go, Yaz, in this over. Check out, we won't be able to pick it up with our camera immediately, but check out Will Jacks at deep backward square. It's this new way of fielding on the boundary, when you lean with your front leg, like you're a sprinter about to get off the marks, get off the blocks. We've seen it done with a few others. Halfway point, 77 for 1. Game this. Mieye 37 and Finch 18 from 17. He needs to get a wriggle on. Saw Tom Lammonby do it first. Brilliant fielder at Somerset. And rather than starting square on with your feet equally apart, shoulder width, you start leaning with your left shoulder and your left foot, so you're already essentially into the action of exploding into the sprint. Every little second counts, every nanosecond counts now at this top level, especially in the outfield.
Another dot ball for Santner. It feels like something will have to give now for Kent. Going at a runner ball over the last 5 overs. Fired in this time, but again only 1. Finch runner ball for his 19. Mieye started quickly, but Surrey have hauled him back in a little bit. Over the last 5 overs, he's actually only 12 or 14.
Yeah, they've done it really well since probably the 3rd or 4th over. Spitfires are 41 off 4. Since then, Surrey have edged it.
On. Bit of air from Santner. Mieye came down the track and Mieye can only cloth it back to the bowler. And after a bright start, Mieye departs for 37 or 31.
Yeah, frustrating for the boy. 37 from 31. Rather lost his way, as you say, Yaz. Sprightly start. Soft dismissal. And Spitfires spluttering here, just a touch. Joe Denley is the new man. This time we can be sure of that. Again, Santner asking why he's so good. There's an element of anticipation as well with the best spinners. He knew, as you said, we all sensed it, something had to give, something was coming. Invariably that means a batter's going to run at you. So what do? You hold it outside off stump. You make him reach for it. It's dropping on him all the time, and all he can do is toe it back to you. He's a classy cricketer. It's Mitch Santner, settling in here very well.
And in comes another classy cricketer, Joe Denley.
One of your favourites.
He is one of my favourites.
Slip in, Sammy Curran.
Yeah, as you say, Phil. The Keir Oval, the site of one of Joe Denley's best days in an England shirt.
94.
94 against the Aussies in a series levelling Ashes victory. Chipped straight to the man at long off. Santner has his 2nd in the over, and it's both set batters. Kent 79 for 3.
Santner doing the business. Harry Finch will be frustrated with himself because he's actually middled that shot, but he's just played so half-heartedly. He's trying to place it rather than really strike it. All he can do is feed one up to long off, tidy catch, but you'd expect that to be taken. It's a rather limp couple of dismissals here for the visitors.
That replay doesn't quite show it, but once again, it was Santner really slowing things down. Quite often we've seen him at nearly 60 mph. That was below 50 mph.
Can pause time, he's so good. So this is the game right here, really. Sam Billings, fabulous white ball cricketer. Seen it all, really. And these two bring whole libraries worth of experience with them. That is a frustrating way to go. He'll get back to the dressing room and think, just go through with it. Extend the hands, snap the hands through the shot. And you're more than likely going to clear it. He was just looking for that space, extra cover.
Slip remains in for the new man Billings. Got a ball to finish. Wonderful over from Mitch Santner. 2 runs from it, but also 2 wickets. He's got figures of 2 for 13 of his 3 overs.
Well bowled.
He's going very well at the moment. Just for that ball, by the way, Phil, slip was in, but it was Tom Curran rather than Sam Curran. Older brother Tom knocking Sam out. What we like to see. It looks like it'll be Chris Jordan back into the attack. Change of bowler powered by SSE Energy Solutions. Stay ahead of the game. Implement a winning sustainability strategy. It was Jordan who made that first Surrey breakthrough, dismissing Bell Drummond for 19. Star-studded Surrey attack, plenty of experience. Here he is bowling to Joe Denley. Always tricky in the T20 when you've got 2 new men at the crease. Wary that that run rate's coming down. Started briskly. But that run rate now just 7.07 runs and over. And as Phil and Ali were talking about earlier, this feels like a quicker pitch than the one we saw this time last week when Surrey played Hampshire. Very good again from Chris Jordan. Quick into the hip, cramping Denley for room. So we'll just be thinking, can we burgle a couple of quiet overs here with the 2 new men at the crease? Potentially wary of not losing another one. It's another dot ball, 3 in a row.
And brilliantly done by Jordan. Can sense it, and then out the corner of his eye he can see it, and he has the skill to adjust the hand position, throw it down the leg side, right at Joe Denley, who can do nothing but lock it into that space in the onside for another dot.
Just 2 runs off the last 10 balls here. Surrey applying the squeeze. Extra cover and mid-wicket in really, really tight, cutting off those quick singles. There's that man at mid-wicket in action.
Yeah, I like the way Sam Curran is doing this. He's recognised that this is the moment for Surrey, and he's going in hard here.
There's a huge gap over mid-wicket. He's so close in. Almost asking Denley, go on, take a risk. And actually, this very ball, mid-wicket's just dropped back 10 yards to the edge of the ring.
He's tried to make room twice now, and he's been followed both times.
Another dot. And Denley's in a bit of pain here. Struck him on the hip. 86 mph from Chris Jordan.
I was going to say, he's bowled sharp again. A couple touching 88 in his first over. And that's beaten him and hurt him.
Yeah, unfairly pigeonholed as a slow ball death bowler, but he is still very much capable of bowling properly sharp. 2 off the last 2 overs for Kent.
You need something from this to avoid a maiden.
Hits it straight to backward point and they scamper through for a single. 1 run from that over. Joe Denley retains a strike. Outstanding set from Chris Jordan. And Kent, that run rate now just 6.67 runs per over, with just 8 to come. We know Mitch Santner will bowl one of them, but they're just holding him back for the moment. Dan Worrell will return from the pavilion end. He's gone well so far this season, as an economy rate of under 6 runs per over in the Blast before this game. Yet to take a wicket though.
Denley's got to make a play. 2 men up on the offside. That's your space.
Gets off strike, not entirely convincingly, but you could see Worrell was trying to replicate what Jordan was doing in the previous over. Back of a length, sharp, cramping Denley for room.
It was there. If Denley had backed himself to give himself that bit of space outside leg stump, as he had done, albeit it hadn't worked, but he had done against Jordan, well, that was the ball for it. Worrell is a more natural off-stump, 5th stump kind of bowler. And that's your space. 2 men up inside the circle, behind square on the offside. To that point where you need to give yourself a chance, gamble a bit, throw the hands at it.
Lings works that into the leg side. And even though it was hit towards Chris Jordan, one of the very best fielders in the world, they scamper back for 2.
As well played, actually.
Again, I don't think Surrey mind that, given what the run rate is at the moment. Kent just looking for 1s and 2s. Not too long left in the innings. I think that's a win for the home side.
The problem they have Jack leaning in, who's a good, useful white ball cricketer in next. But then after that, it's the bowling all-rounders. Grant Stewart carded to come in at 7. A decent career strike rate. Hit a longish ball in the mid-140s career strike rate, which is useful, but perhaps a tiny bit high. You might want another batting all-rounder in there at 7, ideally. And so, do you twist, do you stick? Is the challenge that teams face when they come here.
Pace off from Worrell. And Denley steers that one away for 4.
Yeah,
he needed that.
Sorry, as he's played that well, and as we say, that was the only area available to him, and you felt with Worrell's natural line, how can you engineer, how can you manufacture a shot, get it behind square on the offside? Well, there's your answer. He's done well to catch up with that.
Well, it's an amazing shot. It's a slower ball from Worrell so for Denley to generate the energy to turn that into 1 bounce 4 is some going. First boundary in a very long time. Gives himself room, and that'll be 4 more. Just what Kent needed. Back-to-back boundaries for Joe Denley.
Yep, lovely shot. One of the shots of the day, really. It was there to hit, but he made room. He'd in the shot as well. If you see again on replay, the weight, propulsion is into the shot. He's not falling away despite having made room for himself. So he can maintain that power. It's the thing with the game. A couple of good shots and you catch up with yourself.
4 more, brilliant from Joe Denley. Pace on this time from Worrell. But similar shot from Denley. 3 4s in a row. 16 runs off the over. Kent now 96 for 3. And then we've got a change in the commentary box. Ali Brown will be alongside Phil Walker for the remainder of the Kent innings.
So Denley had to make a play, and he did it, and he pulled it off. 4 4 4. The final 3 deliveries of Dan Worrell's previous over, and suddenly the momentum shifts again. Chris Jordan, 2 overs, 1 for 6. Bowled fast as well as Hanley, and he is to carry the fight here for Surrey. 96 for 3, 7 overs yet to bowl. Delicately poised. Alistair Brown and myself will take you through to the close of this one. Dan Billings to face up. He needed that impetus after a sluggish and quiet couple of overs. Denley bring a bit more impetus and momentum into his innings.
They definitely needed that over. I mean, there'd been a really good squeeze. Mitch Santner had bowled brilliantly. I know we'd given Harry Finch a little bit of grief for what looked like a weak dismissal, but I don't think we give enough credit to Mitch Santner for his quick arm, the slower ball, the dip has been done in the flight. The fact that you then got 2 new batters in at the same time, I mean, that is absolutely crucial, and backed up by Chris Jordan, who's bowling very nicely. Good, very good wicket-to-wicket bowling. What I did like actually was the fact that Sam Curran had mid-wicket in very tight for the new batters, and that is really good captaincy. It's keeping the pressure on the batters as they come in. They want to get a few singles just to take the pressure off, but it wasn't there. So very good work by Sam Curran.
Clothed it straight to Mitch Santner. In fact, Will Jacks under the high ball, keeps his composure, and that is a killer blow really for Kent. Sam Billings came and he went, just 3 to his name. Chris Jordan deserves that because he's bowled with real fire all night long. The pace is good, it's up, it's in the high 80s. And Sam Billings was just in no position to execute that shot. Beating for pace, loses his shape and perishes.
Yeah, Chris Jordan certainly on fire tonight. Not just the pace he's bowling, and as you said, they're 85 miles an hour, but it's more the lines he's bowling. He's giving no room for the batters. Just as you come in, you want a bit of width to get moving. He's given them nothing. He's hit the wicket hard there, and a comfortable catch for Will Jacks at deep square leg.
So Jack leaning in at 6. It fires 96 for 4. You're in that delicate place in a T20 innings where it could subside quickly if you're not careful. Equally, if they win this final third, then they'll pose something very challenging to Surrey. He's gone up for it, very confident, and umpire says wide. Jordan furious. Can't believe it, the bowler. Let's have a look. Immediate reaction from Laurie Evans as well. Behind the stumps.
It doesn't look...
I think they thought they'd heard something at least.
I think they heard something, and it doesn't feel like thigh pad because it would have been slower off the towards, but you can't guarantee you hit it.
Brilliant again.
It's given these new batters nothing, has he? He's just really at the wicket, top of off stump. That's exactly where the level of bowling here is. Well, we know Chris Jordan is world class, but tonight he really is showing it. And I think 7 runs off 2.4 overs on this wicket. If it was a wicket that did a bit, but he's getting it. You know, he's just hitting good areas on what is a good wicket. Kent very much under par here.
Overhitting and losing shape. Mark it up, Chrissy Jordan, another dot.
Well, overhitting because they realise that actually they're behind the rate. They've got 6 overs to get up, even if they're going at 10s. You're looking at 157, which I think is the lower end of par, isn't it?
You said 180 at the start after a few overs, and seemed like a good call based on what we saw initially with the new ball. Surrey have been excellent.
But this squeeze with Chris Jordan and Mitch Santner has been very impressive.
So, 1 delivery to go. Can Leaning find something? Single into the onside is all. It's Jordan then. 3 overs. 1 maiden. 2 for 8. Let's have another look at this nick, or perceived nick. Yeah, it could be be the pocket of the trouser, perhaps. Certainly, both bowler and keeper convinced that they heard something.
It could even be shirt.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, hard to say.
You can't even tell. He's quite poker-faced.
Chris Jordan then.
Probably the correct decision.
Jordan and Mitchell Santner have been magical, really, the two of them this evening. It's going to be Santner to bowl out. 2 for 13 for him from 3, 2 for 8 rather, from 3 for Chris Jordan. Rather ungainly hoik by Jack Leading off the pad. It's Joe Denley back onto strike.
You say that, but he's very difficult to line up, isn't he, Mitch Santner? No two balls really the same. Some balls come round arm.
How would you play him?
Oh, from the other end, I think is probably the.
Yeah, you just step away and back him in at the stands. That one this time, and there will be runs into the onside. Probably a couple. Yeah, Joe Denley was back for 2.
I think he is a key performer, not just tonight, but I'm sure Alex Stewart will be trying to find any championship games that he might be available for. I wouldn't be surprised, because Surrey have gone on some flat decks this year, and it would certainly make the opposition think if he was in the lineup.
On the bounce up to Chris Jordan at long on. Yeah, it's a good shout, that, Ali. Good shout.
When you face a spinner, though, you are trying to line up where you think he's going to bowl it, and because he has different release points and how he can get the ball to drop, makes him very hard to line up, especially with the size of the boundaries, which are half decent here. They're reasonable size.
Another flat one, right in the block hole. Leading can only punch it up to long on for a single. The strangle is on here. A real clinic by Mitchell Santner. 2 deliveries to go of his spell for 17. It's time, he does get him away, and he does clear mid-wicket. Much needed, well executed. So the shackles are broken. Joe Denley, who started slowly, up to 24 from 14 and going well now.
Good sweep slog, and he's lining that up in the hope that that's where he's going to bowl it. He guessed correctly, and he's played it very well.
Just shy of the man on the offside 45. It's spooned to Dan Worrell. Sparing dive just bounces short, and so Denley retains the strike. 1-1, 0 for 4 with 5 to go. Spitfires need to dominate the last 5 here.
Often the sign of a very good spinner as well. When getting hit for 6, most spinners tend to bowl it a bit fuller, either get it in the block hole or try and not create room. But for him to go even slower shows the confidence that he has.
Chris Jordan, with 1 over still remaining, is going to be held back. Sam Curran is being back for the death. It's going to be Nathan Smith replacing him, powered by SSE Energy Solution. Climate change won't wait. He's in. Gloriously played. That will go all the way. Jack Leading is into the... In fact, Joe Denley is beginning to enjoy himself here. Excellent anticipation. Gives himself room. Effortlessly bunts him over long off. Glorious shot. Starting to play here.
Sort of pace of 6 you want for a key 1,000-pound catch, wasn't it? Unfortunately.
You're just shy again.
Not picked up.
He's hit that flat and hard. That's gone all the way. Back to back. Again, excellent anticipation. That's a long boundary. And it's flat. It's a set like right out the screws. Oh, Denley's starting to enjoy himself here.
He was absolutely all of that, didn't he?
Yeah. He was beaten up a little bit by Chris Jordan in that first over as he came to the crease, but since then he's been basically unstoppable. 37 from 17. Can he keep going? 4 deliveries to go in this 16th over. Punches down the ground. Jack Leading runs hard, turns, but doesn't fancy getting back for 2, and so just a single, but excellent counter thrust here. 38 now from 18.
Certainly the right decision not to run to Jason Roy's arm at deep mid-on. You'd have seen how he won the World Cup a few years ago.
Yeah, Denley was 3 off 8. Really struggling against Jordan and the like. That's gone high and mighty, and that will clear Will Jacks quite comfortably. Jack leaning into the fun now. This is exactly what the Spitfires need. We're chugging along.
Well, you'd say he was leaning back, wouldn't you? I mean,
you would, Alistair. That you would.
He's got all of that. He had the height. It's like a well-placed pitching wedge, that was.
Gone a long way. It's a long boundary. Key a catch for a grand. I think we've yet to have one this evening.
Mr. Tickle wouldn't have got that.
Bowled, well thought through. That's 17, 19 in fact, from the first 5 deliveries. So he's been expensive tonight as Nathan Smith, 41 from his 2.5 overs. Big final delivery here. Both men up on the offside. Leaning, gave himself room from the previous delivery. Does he go again and try and get something on it, anything, using the pace? Slide one past the man on the 45 on the offside. Then he clumps it to Will Jacks. So he will retain the strike, but a much needed bumper over Kent. And things beginning to look much rosier for them. 130 for 4 to go. If they can chisel out 40 from here, 50 even. If they go really well, then they'll have the 180 that Ali Brown called for at the start of this innings.
Well, I think they'll have to slot a few of Sam Curran's slower balls, because I imagine there's going to be at least a couple of those in there, and he bowls a slower ball slower than most, so you're going to have to get all of it. I think you know, they've hit a length here, Surrey, which has allowed. They've got 6 wickets in hand, Kent, so they are going to throw everything at it. They know they're behind. They'll have a rough idea what a par score is, and you know, if they can get to 170, I still think they're probably at the lower end of par, but big couple of overs.
But he's going to beat Curran. Slapped into his own foot. Kills back to the bowler, so a useful dot to get going here. Curran 2 overs for 14 earlier in the piece. Nathan Smith, a bit expensive today. 42 from his 3, and Dan Worrell as well. 33 from his 3. And from those 2, it's been very tight stuff by Surrey. Got a lot of that. Has he got enough? Yes, he has. Despairing effort by the man in the front row at Cow, who's positioned himself clearly for the shot.
Well, why wouldn't you? That's where you want to be.
That's the spot.
He must be distraught.
That is the spot. He thought he was in the game for a minute.
Oh.
Look at that. He's given everything, the boy. And he's furious, as well you might. There's a grand right there in his fingertips. Back leaning. A couple of big ones then. Advances this time and times that beautifully into the offside. Will that beat the man? No, it doesn't. Yes, it does. Nathan Smith got something on it, but not enough. Gloriously timed.
That was a great effort. That was nearly a very well saved 2. But you can just tell that you know, the pace of the wicket and how well that's timed. Even this, here we are in the 17th over, it's still a good wicket.
Real impetus, these 2. Partnership up to 44. Double quick time. Umpire Currs with Jack leaning, and Sam Curran will have to bowl that one again. So good start to the over here for Kent. 11 from the first 3 legitimate deliveries. Bubbling up nicely this game. You can hear it in the crowd. It's really good turnout today. So it's 5-6, 4/5 full. And that's another wide, comfortably. Question of that. Curran turns on his heels, gets back to doing what he does.
You get the feeling he's got at least one slow ball in the locker, and you'd probably imagine that'll go to Joe Denley, because Joe Denley has actually showed his willingness to ramp and go the other way, and you feel that Dan Worrell could be in the game. But
Curran in again. Slower ball, as called. Two balls to come. Joe Denley on strike.
where's your money for this ball? Slow ball or Yorker?
But he's just floated one down. But I think he fears that Denley might fancy the scoop or the ramp. I'm going to go another slowie.
I'm with you.
Denley is wise to it, and if indeed we are right for once,
well, if
he might just wait for it and try and clobber it over mid-wicket. We shall see.
I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to push this towards mid-wicket for two.
Mitch Jordan is coming up now, so long on is open. Moved mid-wicket round to straighter. Here you go. So he did try it. And Curran, it's a well-directed block hole delivery. Denley's actually done quite well to get something on that, because that could have got ugly for him. As it is, it's a single. We were half right.
We were half right.
I'll take that most of the time. So Jack leading 20 from 12. Brought a bit of gumption to this innings when it was much needed. Driven hard past Chris Jordan. Denley will come back for a couple. Easily enough. Looks like he's actually limping somewhat. In fact, he definitely is, Joe Denley. What's happened there? Oh, 50 partnership up.
The innings here really resembling the way Surrey batted down at Canterbury, isn't it? A good positive start, a bit of a squeeze in the middle, and then a strong finish.
18 deliveries then of this innings. There's the tail of the card. Mieye Beldrummond started idly. Mieye 37 from 31. Rather lost his way in the second half of his innings. Beldrummond went for 19. Bit of a struggle for Harry Finch. He too perished for 19. Sam Billings just for 3. These two sparkled in a 50-run partnership to really change the whole complexion of this innings. 146 for 4. Can go at two runs and over from here on in, then they get right up to 180, and that will be a very useful score, you fancy. Jordan to bowl out. Oh, nothing doing. A dot ball, interestingly. Denley, in the umpire's mind, having advanced too far over to the offside. So, it's full dot.
Amid the carnage, 3.1 overs, 2 for 8.
Yeah, been special tonight. It's Chrissy Jordan. Natural fast bowler. Forget the age, 36 and a half. Forget that. Still got the rhythm. Still got the flow and the nip. Denley definitely limping. So we won't see too many hard run twos here.
I think you get to that age, it's just that thing where you think, whoa, 20 overs of fielding, I just feel a bit of a niggle.
He's always been a fit boy, as Joe Denley, natural athlete.
Adam Hollyoake has some whippersnapper waiting in the wings to run all over the place.
Yeah, good to see the great man here earlier. Picking up a few high catches for his fieldsman. Went through the motions.
Saw him bowl his first ball actually in the nets, just about evaded the side netting. He's still swinging it.
Of course he is. Mitch Santner has to hold on to it.
Good decision.
Yep.
I know a few that would have held it at the stumps.
percentages as ever. Very, very canny cricketer. So, Chris Jordan, 3 deliveries left of what's been a sparkling performance by him tonight, really. 2 for 10. Throttled the Spitfires this evening, especially in those middle overs. And Joe Denley first came to the wicket. Can Denley fight back here? The answer is no. There you go. A little nick. Good catch by Laurie Evans, who's enjoying himself with the gloves tonight. And Jordan gets his man. He has simply been irresistible. 3 for 10.
I mean, this isn't 3 for 10 on a wicket that's nipped around a bit and just had a bit of juice in it. It's a good wicket. As we said, maybe at the start, after 3 or 4 overs, we thought 180 was a good score, but to come away with 3.4 overs for 3 for 10 is just very impressive. His pace is up there. His line hasn't wavered. He's been all over Joe Denley tonight, and Joe Denley's played very well, but he hasn't fancied the 8 to 10 balls he's had from Chris Jordan tonight.
The other thing, look how it hits the gloves hard. Pace through the air has been vintage. Denley creaks away from the crease,
Well,
definitely inconvenienced by...
He got a little limp out there, didn't he? He doesn't want to field.
It's going to be Grant Stewart. Decent white ball hitter, the back end, useful strike rate.
A fair play to Joe Denley. I mean, that's a good innings that's put Kent in with something to defend.
Jordan, 2 balls to go. Another dot, thank you very much. Can he see it through here? Memorable performance. I wonder if England selectors are keeping half an eye on this as well. Nothing wrong with Chrissy Jordan whatsoever. He's 36, in great shape.
We wouldn't
He's
want
bowling like the clappers.
Yeah, wouldn't want another finger injury for a Surrey seamer, would we?
Looks okay. Guide and straight to Sam Curran. Make that 4-4-10 in 4 overs. Magical. He's ripped the guts out of this innings as Chris Jordan. He's been irrepressible right from the first ball. He's bowled nothing to hit. He's had complete control not only over himself and his own lines and lengths, but over the batsman's thinking as well, and that's what really has marked out this spell. 4 for 10. One of the greats, turning it on.
That is quite simply some of the best T20 bowling I've seen for quite some time. That's 4 for 10 on a wicket that is a batting wicket. He has just given them nothing to hit. Very, very high level of skill. The pace is right up there. An outstanding spell.
Yep. So 2 to go. 148 for 6. Standing ovation. Chrissy Jordan as he makes his way back to long on. His best ever T20 figures, 4 for 10. Previous best 4 for 21 against Glamorgan in 2023. Good time to turn it on. Sam Curran then, penultimate over. Clothed into the onside, leaning, running hard, but a fool's errand to come back for a second, and so it brings Rogers, the overseas, onto strike. Strong, muscular left-hander, had a good big bash through the bat as well, usefully in a couple of those games. Needs something here to Kent. Away. A funny old innings. Had these spurts of energy and then these periods of inertia.
Well, I think we've seen, 8 overs of sensational bowling from Mitch Santner and CJ there. Both of them, unpredictable, hitting lengths that you wouldn't want to hit. Couldn't line them up, and not a bad ball between them.
34 for 6. 8 overs. Those two together. There is the slowie, and there it is, chopped straight to backward point. Jack Leaning goes, so Surrey dominating the final stages here. I feel like that's a big wicket because Jack Leaning was going nicely. It's the Sammy Curran slower ball. It's a devil. He picks up another 150 for 7, and this innings subsiding fast.
Yeah.
At one point it looked like 175 was well on.
Well, I think if they do hit 160, which is about where you'd expect them to get to, I think you're looking at 20 to 25 under par. You know, great to witness such good bowling from CJ and Mitch Santner tonight. I think that really has put the pressure on. There were times when there was a bit of momentum for Kent, but just reined back into a below par score at the moment. 165 they'll be hoping for. Probably 158.
Let's see what they've got. 2 Aussies in. Wes Agar's a big lad. One way to do it. Right off the toe. So runs from every delivery, bare minimum. We'll take them up to 159. It's a boundary or two. The mid 160s. Need to bowl at least.
I think they take 159 now.
Yeah, probably.
If you lose a wicket or a couple of wickets, you could be 153, 154. I think they'll take all they can get.
There it is, the signature slowie.
Interesting, isn't it, when you see the England T20 side and they're all playing the ramps, and they've got Marcus Trescothick as a coach, and of course Jade Dernbach, bowling coach here at Surrey, who had an impeccable slower ball. We saw it in the championship as well, didn't we? They were all bowling it, getting ready for T20 in the Essex match. But yeah, they've got a wide variety of slower balls, getting slower and slower.
Yeah, he's got the back of the hand one and the cutter. Got much of it, so just another single. So Curran's done that very tidily indeed. 4 overs, 1 for 35. He's play with the ball is done. 1 over to go then. 153 for 7. Who's it going to be? It's going to be Will Jacks. The 2 seamers, Worrell and Nathan Smith. Tiny bit expensive today, and so he's going for the option of pace off. It'll be Wes Agar, the right-hander, to kick things off for Kent. It's a long leg side boundary for the tail ender. That will be where you imagine he'll be eyeing. It's a big hit against the slow man to clear 2 men out on the onside, and there's a long on and a long off posted as well. Down the track, cleverly bowled, holding it back. Other ungainly plink up to long on, but it all counts. So Jacks will go round the wicket now to the left-handed Tom Rogers.
Don't expect any of this to be full.
Yeah. But if he's mindful of it, he can hang back, wait for it. There is an inviting cross-back shot on option there.
If I was at deep mid-wicket here, I'd be at high alert.
Yeah, that's it. There you go. He's got it. Plenty. Oh, and there's the dull thud of disappointment. Do you see that ball going in there? You think someone's got to be under that. Someone has to be under that for a grand. But no, yet again, it's not been a good year for our crowd so far under the high ball. But Tom Rogers won't mind. As we say, he's played sensible cricket there. He's waited, anticipated the off break, driven into the pitch and got under it. Useful. 160 for 7. Down the ground again, and does indeed beat Jason Roy. Jumps up and actually takes him, yeah, on the face. The skimmer, I do think it just took the bridge of the nose. He looks okay. That has kicked from nowhere.
I think he's more
surprised him.
Yeah, more surprised at the pace off the wicket. You felt it was going to sit, but just took a high bounce.
Yeah, nasty one.
It's one of those ones where that lands 5 yards in front of you. You're relying. You have to predict the bounce. He certainly got a high bounce there.
So a flurry here. Rogers 12 from 4. Waiting back, hanging back in the crease, trying to get underneath. Yeah, Jason Roy is okay. No dramas there. Jack's then changing the angle. He's going to go over. Rogers opens his stance. Right back in his crease. Look at that. Slaps hard. Won't beat Chris Jordan. Wes Agar will come back for 2. Jordan goes to the far end. Tom Rogers is good for it. That was hit hard. Will Jacks had to take evasive action.
Size of these bats these days. I mean, you saw in the one-day T20 against the West Indies, balls getting smashed back at Adil Rashid with a lot of pace that you actually didn't want him to get a hand on it.
Change of angle again then. Going round again. That one. And the umpire, his arms wide. Will Jack's not entirely convinced. To say the least. He'd look marginal, Ali. To say the least. Anyway, we move on. 2 to go. 167. Useful, these runs at the death.
Well, this is the bonus ball.
Yep. We feel it shouldn't need to be bowled. And he does get enough of it, and that will run away for another very useful boundary. And so, 2 boundary 4s and a 6 from the final over. And these 2 Australians, they jog off with a spring in their step. There's a bit of bat on that, so that runs away for 4. Chaos at the end as Will Jacks continues to argue the toss. So that's added, in effect, 5 runs to Kent's score to take them up into the 170s. 171 for 7 then. We have a game on here at the Kia Oval. Intriguingly poised. Kent started strongly, 41 from the first 4. Mieye and Bell Drummond going well before Bell Drummond went for 19. Harry Finch came and went for also 19, and Joe Denley and Mieye came together. Mieye then caught and bowled Mitchell Santner into the attack and working his magic. He went for 37. Innings came and went soon. Chris Jordan playing the stranglehold really in those middle overs. Partnership of the game so far, Joe Denley and Jack Leading, they put on 50 quickly. 52 indeed it was. And then just in that final over, Will Jacks came on just to bowl his second over, and he went for a few. Tom Rogers doing the business. 18 from 7 he finishes up with, and so look at those bowling figures. 10 for 4 and 24 conceded for 2 wickets for Mitch Santner. 34 for 6 from 8 overs in effect. Gordon and Santner, superb, the 2 of them. Worrell was a little bit expensive. Nathan Smith had an evening to forget. Sam Curran and Will Jacks as well. But there we have it, tail of the tape, 171 for 7. So it's going to take some chasing under lights here. Going to be fascinating to see how the Spitfires defend that one, and if Surrey can push on to a 3rd win of the year. We'll be back live, of course, in about 5 minutes' time to bring you every single ball. But until then, show you again the Xbox video with Ben Folkes and Dan Lawrence guessing teammates' ratings on Cricket 24. That will be coming to you any minute now. It's a beauty, and here it is.
Do you think each other will be happy with each other's scores?
I think you'll be happy with the eyes. They look fabulous.
They always do.
I think Cricket 24 doesn't like you or respect you as a cricketer. That's all I say.
Hey, what's up guys? Benny here, and today I'm joined by some of the stars of the Surrey County Cricket Club, Ben Folkes and Dan Lawrence. Thanks so much for joining us. Bro Teams has been added to Cricket 24, and we're going to be doing a blind ranking of your teammates. For those that are wondering how this is going to work, I'm going to be pulling out names at random, and once you place it on the board, you cannot move it. So if you put someone in thirds and someone else comes out, they can't be changed, all right? And also for you at home, there are going to be some awesome chances to win some great prizes, including a signed Surrey shirt, an Xbox Series S, and 12 months of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. To enter, all you have to do is put hashtag #ScoreMoreWithXbox in the comments. How you feeling?
Nervous. It's not the easiest thing to put someone smack bang last, one of your teammates. So we'll have to buy some coffee to make it up to people, I reckon.
First person we have is Will Jacks.
Oh, come out hot.
Right, 1 to 11. Where do you think, and remember, this is his overall rating, right, in Pro Team.
What do you reckon? Should we slot him in at?
I think 4.
Slot him in
So
at
give us
4.
a little
Give you a bit of wiggle room.
Like
Yeah,
at
yeah.
4.
Right, so we'll put Will in 4th, all right? Chris Jordan,
I reckon we can slot CJ in at 5.
Tom Curran.
I think we fill up the middle
Fill up
first.
the middle?
Yeah,
6 or 7?
Put him at 6.
6.
Put him
Right,
at
go
6, all right. Gus Atkinson.
It'd be pretty tough after the last 12 months not to put him quite high up.
I agree, but I don't know, like, if Sam Curran comes flying out, he obviously takes up here.
I'm quite happy with Gus at 3.
Happy with him at 3?
Yeah, shove him at 3.
Yeah, go on then, chuck him
We'll
3.
make some tough decisions later.
Next, Smith.
Sounds personal if I put him low, so I got probably 11. But he's like going to be one of the best players in the world quite soon, so I think he could slide at 2.
Yeah, let's go for it. Let's go
Right.
2.
J. Roy.
Is that one of England's best white ball players? But I mean, I'm reserving that if Sam Curran comes out of the pack.
Yeah, let's put him at 8.
8, yeah.
Let's put him at 8.
Ollie
Oh,
Pope.
Pope. Jeez, I forgot about Popey.
Oh, goodness gracious. Got to be 7.
I think he's got to go 7,
gotta
and then
be
we just
7.
got to bite the bullet.
Pope in at 7.
Evans.
Another unbelievable player.
I think we need a little wiggle room at 9 still. I think 10.
Sorry, Loza.
You've got yourself.
I'm happy to take 11. That's a good,
Right,
a good
wait,
pack
wait.
of players.
Straight down.
You said last 12 months as well, and it's not gone well for me, so stick me down there.
Get that in there.
You've got 2 more. And you've mentioned him a few times already.
Stick him in. Stick him in at the top.
Get him straight up.
He's
Right.
done some pretty good things.
Sam Curran, right at the top there. And then last, right, if you want to do the honours of
Yeah, we
putting
got
yourself on the board.
Shove that in there. Yeah, and then Loza at number 1. There you go. No, I'd probably slot in. I'd probably slot in at 9.
Sadly,
there. Me at
rules.
9.
All right, so we've got your blind rankings, and now it is time for the reveal. We're going to work our way from the bottom to the top, but we're gonna leave you guys till last to see exactly where you are. So we're going to start with Evans. He's a 74 rated.
For what I reckon people would rate, 74 is fair.
Right, next we got J. Roy. Right, what rating do you think?
77, I'm going to go.
Yeah,
77?
maybe 77, yeah, I think that's...
Oh, you undershot him. He's an
80.
80.
Oh, he's an 80.
80.
Mr. Pope.
Popey, I mean, he's got to be 82 minimum, I would say.
It's actually an 88.
88.
88.
Jeez, sorry,
wow,
Popey.
we're miles off.
Did he help put the cards together, or what's
Hey,
going
it's
on?
from last year. Yeah, you put it borrowed. Got Tom Curran.
Early 80s? 82?
82.
Yeah, I don't mind 82.
You're very, very close.
83, yeah.
83.
83.
Chris Jordan.
It's just got to be the same, isn't it?
I would, yeah, I'm putting him 83 as
We'll
well.
go 83.
He's an
81.
81. We got Jax.
We'll go 86 for Jaxie.
Go 86.
I can already tell based on this, he's going to be fuming.
Is it? No.
He's a 79.
Oh my.
He's like, you're
What a
like,
week,
oh,
what a week.
just have to be above an 80. And he's got a 79.
And he can't whack it. He's 78 on the whacking. And he's going to take that terribly.
It's quite funny, though.
We've next got Gus.
Should we go 85?
I think it could be higher. 87?
We'll meet in the middle. 86.
Bang. The
Hey,
first
there
one that
you
you've got on
go.
the money. 86.
There you go.
Smith.
For me, like, obviously he took my job. So if he's like a 98, then that makes me feel a lot better. The 12 months he's had, he's going to be really highly rated. But looking at the other scores, maybe an 85 or an 86 again.
All right, well, you actually hit it with
85, there you go.
85 rated.
85.
We've got the last 3.
The golden child at first and then us.
Sam Curran, do you think he is the highest rated?
Has to be.
I reckon he could be our first 90.
He's actually an 86. All right, I feel like the nicest way of doing this next one,
That means they're bad scores then.
I'm not going to show you. You're going to hold your own cards. Don't look,
Can I look at his?
right? All right, you can look at each other's. Do you think each
Really?
other will be happy with each other's scores?
I think you'll be happy with the eyes. They look fabulous.
They always do.
But I think your score, considering the board, I think Cricket 24 doesn't like you or respect you as a cricketer. That's all I say.
So based on that,
Brilliant. I'm excited to have a look at this.
All right,
I reckon,
10.
I reckon I'll be mid-70s.
77.
I'll take
See what I
that.
mean by the eyes, though?
Wow, yeah, good
Lovely.
mince pies.
Piercing.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. It's very respectable.
All right, now Ben, what are you thinking?
Probably a 76.
76.
76.
Yeah, that's being very humble.
I'm
Have a
higher
look.
than 76.
Have a look. You're actually
Ah,
an
82.
82.
So you think I'm better than Loz?
Let's have a look at your...
I feel like the only thing I'm known for is the 69, which is kind of puts my career into a bit of a bad place, but oh well. They've clearly never seen me bowl as a youngster.
All right, so this is your blind rankings. This is the actual order. All right, and boom, that is the actual setup of all the rankings. Do you think everyone's going to be happy with their scores?
Yeah, it's obviously a brilliant 11. I'd be pretty happy walking out on the field with that team.
Yeah, and thank you so much for joining us for this. And remember, if you want a chance of winning a signed Surrey shirt, an Xbox Series S, and 12 months of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, put hashtag #ScoreMoreWithXbox down in the comments. Thanks for joining us so much, boys.
No worries, thank you.
Welcome back to the Kia Oval for the start of the Surrey run chase. They require 172. It was a slightly interestingly paced Kent innings. Started fairly briskly in the power play before Surrey egged them down at the start of the middle overs. And Denley went up through the gears. And Surrey actually recovered pretty well towards the end before Tom Rogers ended with a flourish. Ali, you called it 3 balls in. This is a quicker pitch than last week. What do you make of 172 as a target?
Yeah, to be fair, I think they're 15 below par. And I say that because the Kent innings meandered through the innings, didn't it? Started off quite explosively with some really good shots. They didn't have to overhit to get those runs. Then there were wickets, and there was a bit of a burst from Joe Denley and then a bit of power at the end. And that's where they've got to. But as I said, I feel it's a totally different, although the parameters of the ground are the same. I think you can just tell, even 16, 17 overs in, there were balls that were cracked through the offside, and they kept going, and that's a sign that it's very good. It looks a tinge of green. That doesn't mean it does seam. Often that means it comes onto the bat a bit quicker, so you get that skid off the wicket, and I think that's what this wicket has. So I think Surrey would be happy with that. I know there were a few runs at the end, but I'd be happy with that target. And as I said, I think this wicket is nothing like the 3 or 4 that they played on previously.
Italy's Grant Stewart to open the bowling. So Will Jacks in Surrey side. The first time this last season. Been away first in the IPL with Mumbai Indians and then England. Back at the top of the order, actually, which I think he will be really excited by. It's not what he's always been doing recently. Part of the new role for himself with England in both the 50 over and T20 sides as a number 7. A really good ODI series in particular, where he performed 2 very contrasting roles in the same series. One as a more traditional finisher, and then in the other, in that ODI at Cardiff, been together a 150-odd run stand with Joe Root when England were facing 300. Sibley on strike for the first time.
I think he didn't get enough credit for that Sapphire Gardens innings. Well, he did get credit. I mean, anyone who knows the game would know without him, Joe Root wouldn't have been able to play and that match-winning innings. And so his 40-odd was actually really important. It is a role at the top of the order. He's going to be super positive. And here he is in a slightly different role, but a very mature one, which won England game.
Kicked into the leg side. That'll be at least 2. It'll be 4. Positive start from Dom Sibley.
Strong on the front foot, and as we said, it's the ball that it's well worked through the leg side, and there's that pace on the ball. That's the wicket is producing. That's very well timed. Dom Sibley's been in very good form for quite some time, and he's he's batting on one of the quicker wickets that he'll have faced in the last couple of weeks.
So talk us through why, as a batter, you generally prefer a quicker wicket. Is it some shots easier to play when there's more pace?
Well, I think when the ball comes down, sometimes if it sits in a wicket, you end up over-hitting. You can see Dom there playing. He's got plenty of time with the shot, and sometimes you can rely and trust on the wicket, and that's what this wicket has produced all the way through. It was just it was 8 overs of exceptional bowling that actually reduced Kent to 171. But yeah, look, on a good wicket, you don't have to overhit. You just hold your shape a little bit longer. Sometimes when it's a bit slower, you can have dot balls, and of course, you're trying to chase up to counter those dot balls.
It can just 4 deliveries for Sam Billings to remove slip and put him in the ring. Jack leaning now at wicket.
And Surrey were very similar. I mean, they took their slips out very soon. I was really impressed with Sam's captaincy, actually. I thought he really got his fields right. He was looking for the ball to swing early on, and when he realised that the wicket actually was a really good one, he then manoeuvred that field very quickly, so which was the right thing to do.
A leading edge from Dom Sibley. Healy had extra cover interested. The end, 5 runs from first Surrey over. Steady start from Grant Stewart. On Will Jackson, I thought there was quite a revealing comment from Harry Brook after the game. He talked about wanting his number 7 to be a proper batter, a 100 scorer, and often number 7s in limited overs cricket, they're almost pigeonholed as 6 hitters at the death, and they can be quite one-dimensional. And it was Will Jack's ability to fulfil different roles is what Brook really wanted to see from his number 7, and that's what we saw in that first series.
It shows his class as well, that he can adapt that quickly to that new role. It's a very different role. Here he's got 2 fielders out, where he can really take advantage of the fielders on the inner ring and clearing those, which I think he probably looked to do. And opening in this form of the game, you're really looking for someone who can clear the infield, isn't afraid to go aerial, will be proactive, and in those sort of areas, which I think he hasn't been used to recently, but I think he'll really enjoy it.
Rogers in from the Vauxhall end. Timed really nicely from Jack. That raced away to deep square leg. Just one, but an illustration of your point about the speed of the wicket and just how much batters today have been able to trust the bounce.
Well, Surrey bat very deep as well, and it'll allow Will, because of that depth that they've got, to actually go and play his shots. And I think I expect to see Surrey get their highest score in the power play to date.
He'll be back on strike. Slip remains for Rogers. Pulled, and that struck Sibley. With extra bounce from Rogers. The Aussie overseas. 86 MPH. That's sharp.
Very rare to see Dom Sibley get harried a little bit on the short ball, a little bit more extra bounce than he had expected. And to be fair to Kent, I think their lines are a lot tighter than when they played at Canterbury. I thought they were very loose. They bowled far too much width. They bowled 2 lengths, and they hit Dom Sibley at Canterbury, and he put the next ball for 6. So although they do have a man at deep square leg for where he placed it down there.
One thing I liked in the first innings with these boundaries today, where there isn't a visibly shorter side, when there were 6s, there were no miss hits for 6. You have to properly hit it when the boundaries are back. These are international size boundaries this evening.
Yeah, but the players of this generation can find these boundaries quite easily. They're stronger than, if you go back to when I first started, we were on 6-month contracts, so our winters were often spent doing other things rather than.
What were you doing in your?
I was in Australia I was in Australia for a couple of years. I went to Perth in Western Australia, where I actually played some 3rd grade with Stuart McGill. We played in the 3rd grade together, but still managed to play internationally eventually. Yeah, and I coached around all the schools in Surrey and London for 5 years. So yeah, that was what I did in the winter.
Sibley's good to continue. Forward into the leg side. Pick up 2. Something that I think will be quite interesting today, in the power play in particular, is just how much strike Will Jacks get. Looking for a bit of rhythm at the top of the order. He's done really well recently, but a different position. Increasingly, it's something that you notice in T20 cricket, batters being starved of strike, unable to continue or even start build momentum in their innings.
they will fear what Will Jacks has, and I'm sure Adam Hollioake would be very keen to probably keep Dom Sibley on strike, and probably more ones and twos from him. But he's also got the reverse and a few ramps.
Short again, left alone by Sibley. Just like in the previous over, slips come out and gone into mid-wicket. Like Surrey had, extra cover in mid-wicket, are really tight.
Yeah, it's a good aggressive start from Kent. As I said, I felt they gifted the game to Surrey down at Canterbury. They were very loose in terms of width and length, and also some knee-high full tosses, which were all duly put away, but they've started hard here.
Auld, two deep square leg, who takes an outstanding diving catch. Hit well from Sibley. Straight into the hands of deep square leg. And Kent have an early breakthrough.
Well, down at Canterbury, he actually put that for 6 shortly after he was hit, and perhaps it's a ploy that Kent have thought. They saw something in him with deep square there. He does hit it very well, and he's played it a couple of times against Hampshire here. He also pulled for 6, but I said the boundary is a little bit bigger than they have been. He's bowling with good pace, and he's just picked out the man. That's an excellent catch in the deep.
Yeah, Harry Finch, who so often dons the gloves for Kent, shows that he's got plenty of ability without them.
He's a bit unlucky there because he's actually caught that really well. I mean, the batter, Dom Sibley, has hit that almost too well. He'd been better off not hitting it well, and he'd have probably had 4, whether it's a top edge or pulling it behind, but he's hit it, just hasn't been able to keep the ball down.
Jason Roy, the new man, in at 3, started well this season. It's a brilliant catch from Finch as well. Running in, the ball hits so flat, diving forward.
It's a catch you want as a fielder, because the expectation is if you drop it, it's well tried. But he was in a good place. He's in from the boundary, which is key on these big boundaries. Too often players can sit deep on the rope. You've got to be 5 yards in at a position where you feel you can get back if it were to go over your head.
Rogers to the new man, Roy. Swatted straight to mid-off. No run. It completes. Another good over for the visitors. Just 3 runs from it. Quiet start for Surrey. 8 for 1. I feel like with those catches, it's not just skill, it's courage. If you get it wrong, that ball can really ricochet into your face.
I mean, you felt from up here, you felt the trajectory was actually good for him. It's those ones that you're not quite sure of, the ones you're trying to throw your hands under, but that you could actually just get it on the end, and that's goodbye 6 weeks. But yeah, I thought you just felt he almost hit it too well, and if he just not hit it as well, he'd probably got at least 1, maybe more. He is strong. I mean, Dom Sibley's very quick on the front foot, so he is strong in that area, and he's very good in terms of 4-day and Test cricket. That anyone he's facing, it's never, lucky enough to be around him in his teenage years, and he played the short ball as well as anyone.
The Aussie into the attack. Where's Agar? Lated appeal from Agar. Billings went up straight away.
It's a stifled appeal, wasn't it? It was like, I've heard something. It wasn't convincing.
I think Agar's only gone up because his captain's gone up. Take a look at the replay here. Takes a while for Agar to.
I did have one of those once. Alan Donald actually had something very similar that actually hit the bail. Didn't knock the bail off, and there was a noise, and it was on TV, and it was shown that the bail actually moved.
Jacks gives himself some room. Smashes that for a 1 bounce 4 over extra cover. Authoritative from Jacks.
A perfect shot. I mean, exactly where he was targeting. If you get a little bit inside that, it'll power off square. But that's exactly where he's aiming, and he's got all of it. That's a great shot.
These are 2 batters who hit the ball extremely hard. Is that a technical thing, or is that a more physical thing for players who hit the ball as hard as Roy and Jacks?
Well, these 2, you probably couldn't find 2 harder hitters in the team. So, expect it to be a power off.
Hold him! What a response from Wes Agar. Deposited over extra cover the previous delivery. Next up, he's bowled one of Surrey's England men. Will Jacks goes for 6. Surrey 12 for 2.
Just probably trying to hit that a little bit square. I think hit the last ball very well. Hit that off the middle of the bat and just a little bit too overconfident, I think. Just really had to hold his shape, but top of off and a good comeback.
Yeah, brilliant start this from Kent. The two Aussie overseas, each striking in their opening overs. Suddenly, 172 looks a long way away. And the new man in the middle is the Surrey skipper, Sam Curran. He's got some work to do.
He's been in very good nick, hasn't he, Sam? Both in the championship and in T20. I think this extra pace will suit him. I think he's looked very easy on the eye.
Yeah, that required run rate, 9.14 runs and over. It is a lot, but equally we saw how freely Kent scored at certain points in their innings. So very, very manageable from a Surrey point of view at this stage. Kent, though, on the attack, 2 slips in place alongside the skipper, Sam Billings. Can they prize a third early Surrey wicket?
They have just bowled a lot tighter line, haven't they? They've really targeted where they want to bowl, far more disciplined than they were last week. And as I said, that's what let them down. I think Will Jacks just his weight a little bit back there as he's trying to hit. It's the sort of thing where you think, God, if you bowl in my area, I can just get you there. But yeah, be a little bit disappointed because it's a good wicket and a great chance for someone to go big. And there's an 80 not out for someone out there.
Yeah, very little width on offer so far. Even that ball that went over extra cover, Jats gave himself a bit of space, actually. Created the width for himself.
Surrey shouldn't panic here. It's a good start from Kent, but there'll be a lot of opportunity in the coming overs, and it's not where you'd... They'd know what the pass score is, and I think just because Kent have started well the first 2 or 3 overs, it's just a case of the boundaries will come. It's just about making sure you just not try to overhit or do anything too risky, but still trying to be positive at the same time.
Quick single. Well backed up by leading. Curran off the mark, and it completes an excellent first over for Wes Agar. 5 runs and the wicket of Will Jacks. Surrey 13 for 2 after 3, halfway through the power play.
I said last week that they weren't at the races and really gifted that to Surrey, but their other 2 performances have been right on the money. Hampshire came here and were really very impressive, I thought, against Surrey, and Kent beat them, in the week. So, I think it was just Surrey were perhaps lucky to come up against Kent on a poor day, but they're certainly on the money tonight with the ball.
Yeah, a reminder just how important this game is in the context of the South Group. Kent and Surrey both have 2 wins from their first 4 matches. Somerset, Sussex and Hampshire, who you mentioned just then, have looked really good. They've got 3 wins each. 4 sides, of course, qualify from the South Group to the quarterfinals. So who knows, this might be a pivotal game when we come back to reflect on it come the end of the group stage. Gilchrist in for the first time this evening.
I mean, in terms of it is a big game at this point in the competition because we're only sort of 5 games in for Surrey. There are obviously 14 in the whole group, and of course you've got this is one of the sides that I think should be in the top 4. I think Kent look pretty good. They've got in their coach Adam Hollyoake. I didn't see anyone booing him as he got here, but he's obviously got a massive amount of one-day experience, and he's an exceptional leader. And he's I expect Kent to be in the 4 come the end of the group stage.
Brilliant shot from Curran. Through the covers for 4.
Effortless 4 from Sam Curran there, and that's all you need to do, really, just lean on the ball. There will be opportunities, and as the power play dissipates and the fielders go back, even when I think tonight, even with the fielders on the boundary, they're beatable if you time it well, which last week probably wasn't the case.
What was Hollyoake like as a leader, particularly in limited overs cricket? Was there anything about him in the shorter format
shot.
That'll be
That's
4 more.
Great shot.
Effortless again from Sam Curran. No real flourish, no more than a push really, and that's raced away the boundary for 4.
I think in Adam Hollioake, he believed that we were going to win every game. Whether it was Surrey or England, he always believed his mentality was they're going to take the gas. And what he meant by that was they were going to choke, and if we did our things well, that we would win. And he had that. He was able to create belief in the players, and I'm sure that's what he'll do at Kent. I think when he speaks, you certainly listened, and he could convince you of almost anything.
How much does something like belief matter? Because from the outside, that looks like something that's not tangible, but we know very well there's a side over the river playing a very important game at the moment who've got a recent history of falling short in really big moments in really big games. And you wonder, even players who weren't even born when the '99 World Cup semi-final took place, the history of that still lingers and impacts the day and the game now.
Well, belief is everything. I mean, it's why often sides will go through runs of wins, in terms of, say, a win brings another win, another win. The reason for that is that if you don't need to win, there's less pressure, and also your players are probably in quite good form. So you turn that around the other way, and you've got in this group, you've got Gloucester and Essex are on losing runs. And what's interesting for Surrey is that Surrey only play those sides once. So there's 2 sides they play once, and it's the 2 sides at the bottom of this group. So it does come to that. You end up in situations where when you're playing well, you almost, it happens naturally, and you know what your part in winning that game will be. But of course, when things go the other way, and it wasn't just always good at Surrey, pre-1996, we were pretty ordinary. We'd end up in some really good positions, but for some reason blow it. And that was probably because we weren't quite so good as a team, but of course all that coincided with Adam becoming captain and bringing us together as a unit. But it was more the games that, the 50-50 games, that he would win that team that I was playing for more than 50% of those wins. So we would probably have 50-50 games, we probably won 80% of them. And it was because of his belief. And I know I mentioned during the Essex game about when we beat Yorkshire here, when they needed about 30 to win with 9 wickets left. But I also played in 1998 in Champions Trophy. And in each of those games, we played the West Indies twice, we played India and Pakistan, and every single game at the halfway was in the balance. And he'd always say, they're going to choke, we're going to win this. And he could make everyone believe that that was the case. Even if you're thinking, oh, we might lose this, he would change that dynamic, and that's a very special talent.
Where's Agar to continue from the pavilion end? 11 runs from Nathan Gilchrist, his first over. An inside edge. That's only just missed leg stump. Roy picks up 4, but not convincingly.
He's bowling great lines here, I think, Agar. He's very unfortunate, a little bit like the first ball of the innings that Dan Worrell bowled. It wasn't an inside edge, but it was an edge. And that one, just a little bit of luck that Surrey need, and a bit of momentum going their way.
11 balls remaining in the power play. Start so far from Kent. Given firmly to mid-on for no run. You mentioned Gloucestershire having a difficult start to the season. I think their struggles actually illustrate just how competitive the South Group is. Reigning champions, and actually the last 4 winners are from the South Group. Kent won it in 2021 and haven't been to the quarterfinals since.
I mean, when T20 first came in 2002, we won every game. In fact, we didn't lose until the 2003 final. And it was almost like games that were 50-50. We believed we were going to win, even though we weren't necessarily favourites. We kind of believed that we would, and we did until that final.
Oh, nearly chopped on again. Living dangerously here, Roy. Yeah, it's a good point. And also, particularly in T20 cricket, so many games are close. I know that's an obvious point, but I think last night in the North Group, there were 3 games that were won by fewer than 10 runs. And those games are decided by so many mini moments, but can you hold your nerve in slightly more than 50% of those moments? I mean, there's that famous Roger Federer line about he won 80% of the matches in his career with 54% of the points.
Yeah. I mean, they are tight games, and there's a lot of good players now. There's a lot of analysis and matchups that should swing, momentum towards the opposition. You'd like to think more so than when we first started this. You'd talk about it. You'd say, oh, I quite like that matchup, or there's certain bowlers you'd like to face. But it's very rare that you could actually go, right, he's going in here. And one thing I'd quite like to see with Surrey today is where they put their left-handers, because they've got 3 left-handers. And I think often having a right-left-hand combination is a really good way forward. So we've got one here, but we've also got another couple of left-handers, and I'd quite like to see them almost floating within this lineup. It also makes the field have to change around a lot as well.
Six. That was hit so hard from Jason Roy. Muyeye was interested at deep back with square leg.
I don't think he was that interested. It was I think when you saw it, it was flat and hard, and it was a catch that you might just get as a finger one, not one you're looking forward to, but a good effort in the deep, but hit very powerfully. And we know Jason Roy has tremendous power, and the last thing I'd want to see at deep square leg, quite frankly.
Another porter-hearted appeal from Kent. Play and miss for Jason Roy. 10 runs off the over, 34 for 2. Obviously, most teams play each other twice in the group stage. But what's the dynamic like when you play each other in such a short space of time for your 2 matches, like these 2 sides have done here?
Well, I think Kent have learned from their mistakes of last week, quite frankly. They're a totally different bowling lineup. Their power play is on a different level to what they... I mean, I was only watching on the feed last week, but everything I saw was just wide, that Ollie Pope could throw his hands at. It's exactly what you want as an opener. As an opening batter, what you don't want is someone who's bowling probably top of off that you would normally drive. So you then have to you only need to maybe walk across and pick it up, or take different risks. And I think they haven't bowled many poor balls at all.
Rogers in from the Vauxhall end.
It can get very frustrating as an opening batter if they're bowling a good length and you are hitting hard balls at mid-on, mid-off that you're not actually getting runs for. And of course that builds a little bit of pressure. Every dot ball you get, and every time the run rate just climbs a fraction, it makes you want to seek that boundary just a little bit more. And you just got to hold your patience a little bit. I don't think throughout the bowlers that are coming, you might have a bowler that you might target, and that'll change the momentum and make the game easier for Surrey.
He's off this time from Rogers.
But again, whether it's pace on or pace off, it's a line that's on the stumps. It's a good length. Even their short balls this week have been more intent rather than just short, and they were dispatched last week, albeit on a wicket that might not be quite as quick as this. So I think they've done their homework, and I think on this sort of surface, I think they've been far more impressive.
A very good start in the power play for Kent. Wide run rate staying around the 9 run and over mark.
They will have to bowl 4 overs of spin, which would be quite interesting. I know that will be more of a lack of pace. I'm not sure we'll see. Well, if Joe Denley bowls, I think they'll target him. But I think if Parkinson bowls, I know he bowls with less pace than. But on this wicket, if you use your feet or you target that, I think you get full value for your shots tonight.
Over this from Rogers so far. It's 2 runs from it with 2 balls remaining.
As a group, they haven't bowled any loose deliveries really. They've ruffled Dom Sibley in the opening overs. They've bowled with good pace and accuracy. Probably learnt a little bit from the way Chris Jordan bowled, I think.
Yeah, Jordan known for his variations, but he kept things fairly straightforward today and veered too far away from plan A. Bowling a lot of deliveries like that, actually. into the pitch, towards the batter's hip, cramping them for room.
But that's just it. No room to release the hands, and as soon as they do, you know, that on this sort of wicket, you can time it so well. Will make it tricky.
Great crowd in tonight at the Kia Oval. Nearly a full house. Beautiful evening. Sun's out. Long mid-June evening. And with punters in today, we've got a really, really good match in front of them. Short and pulled firmly, but Stewart does well and mid-on to cut the ball off. It ends a decent over. Kent just 5 runs from it. Surrey 39 for 2 at the end of the power play. Just as a comparison, Kent were 53 for 1 after their first 6 overs, but in this corresponding bit of the innings, it's about to come up, Surrey were outstanding. 53 for 1 after 6 became 80 for 3 after 12.
I don't think they'll be worried where they are. I think, you know, sides are allowed to bowl well at you, and you know, I think that's what they've done. This is a pivotal moment, I think, and we could see some momentum swing one way or the other. I think they'll be very positive, especially the left-handers going towards that side of the ground, which is, you know, as I said, it's one of the shorter parts, hexagonal. It's probably, I don't know, 45, 50 metres towards the Rado signs there. I would say Sam would want to hit one of those balls probably into there.
Matt Parkinson on for the first time this evening. Tossed up, given some air. Just one. Parkinson, who is a fairly regular member of England white ball squads a few years back, between 2020 and 2022. Played for England in 3 years. His second season in the blast for Kent. Boy, gets out the reverse sweep and pierces the ball through a tiny gap between short third and backward point. Amazing precision.
It's great to see that. We didn't see that at all against Hampshire. Jason's a very good player of the reverse sweep. He's got the ability to go aerial as well. He's kept that one down and low and pierced them, but I like the fact they're using that this week.
Daniel Bell-Drummond at deep third's gone even squarer. Oh, that's outstanding from Jason Roy. The field change, Bell-Drummond, having seen the previous ball go to his right for 4, moved 5 yards to his right. Roy spotted that, and this time reverse swept the ball finer, beating Bell-Drummond on his left for 4 more.
Love the fact he's played it twice on the trot. Don't be surprised if he uses his feet here. Yeah, great to see.
Yeah, and that'd be annoying for Parkinson, especially that second one. It's a ball that's on mid and leg stump that Roy's hitting to the deep third boundary. Really good proactive batting from the Surrey number 3. 10 runs off the first 4 balls of the over already.
Shot.
Now be 4 more. This time, Sam Curran able to engineer a bit of width for himself. Cracks it through cover for 4. Surrey past 50.
It's the momentum Surrey were looking for. Said they'd look to target Parkinson. They know he bowls slowly. And I think they'll pick him off the back foot and occasionally use the feet when probably they least expect him to.
Curran knocks it down the ground for a single. 15 runs from Matt Parkinson's first over of the evening. Surrey 54 for 2. That required run rate coming back down towards 9 and over. We've got a change in the commentary box. Ali Brown's taking a breather. Phil Walker joins me for the next 6 or so overs. What have you made of the start to this Surrey response, Phil?
Well, they needed that, didn't they? I think the 2 Aussies, the overseas, Agar and Rogers, have been on the money. Tom Rogers is a very canny signing, actually. It's him and Sam Billings were teammates in the Big Bash over the winter, both in the team of the year down there. And he has the kind of game that suits this kind of format and these kinds of conditions. Matt Parkinson, as Ali Brown says, will be pivotal. 15 off his first. Jack Leaning is going to offer more slow stuff from this end now, and so it's going to be Parkinson and him in tandem, although one wonders how many Parkinson will be allowed after getting the treatment in that first over.
I almost wonder actually that seeing Jack Leaning this early is almost a response to what we saw in the previous over. Leaning's often used as a match-up off-break bowler, very similar to how someone like Moeen Ali or Will Jacks even is used. Also a lot to left-handers in particular. Rarely bowls this full allocation.
Yeah. I did feel that Kent were perhaps slightly stronger with the bat than the ball when we ran down the card. Maybe one incisive bowler short. Will that play out? We shall see. Well bowled. Going on with the arm. Taking the inside edge. But I don't think it's going to be plain sailing at all for Surrey here. They're going to have to play very well to get this target down. But Curran looks like he's in prime form. Roy's been a touch more skittish. Curran from the get-go has been entirely at ease. Had a couple of gorgeous back foot punches to get his innings up and running, and has milked these middle overs since, really. He's hitting it crisply through the offside. Growing into the job as well. Ensconced now at 4. Impressive work, I thought, in the field. Rang the changes, but seemed to have a good sense of what was to come. Used his key men at the right times. Crowded the batters in those middle overs when he sensed that Denley was going nowhere at that point. I mean, it helps when you have Chris Jordan to lean on, of course. 4 overs, 10 runs, 4 wickets. His finest ever T20 spell. So 60 for 2 then. And this game is bubbling along very nicely indeed. Required rate just a touch under 10s, 9.3. Run rate as it stands just 7.5. So second half of this innings, they will have to put their foot on it. Sorry, you were saying.
Not just Chris Jordan's best figures in T20 cricket. Even if he didn't take any wickets, that's his most economical 4-over spell in T20 cricket. So, an amazing day for him. And just comparing the two fixtures between these two sides, Kent don't have Fred Clarston today. He's been rotated out the side. Nathan Gilchrist, who's about to come on from the pavilion end, coming into the side in his place. Less experienced T20 bowler. But looking at how these 20 overs might play out, 8 bowled, 4 of them have been bowled by the Aussie overseas pair of Rogers and Agar.
Sliced away for a single. He's going to look to come back for 2, and he is. Going to be tight, no, a rather loopy throw from the outer. It's a long boundary out that way. Harry Finch has got good hands, as we saw earlier, but not the fastest arm. So, couple to get himself going.
So in that game at Canterbury, Jack Leaning only bowled the 1 over. He started well, 6 runs from his sole over so far this evening. Matt Parkinson, who was expensive first up, had a really good day out, 2 for 19 from 3. We saw Joe Denley bowl 1 over that day too.
Gone high and long, very long. Was it taken? No, I fear not. Yeah, you'd have had euphoria in the crowd if that one had been snaffled, but still, Jason Roy's got plenty of that. I thought it was a bit top edgy initially, but he's got more than enough. And so, another maximum. Jason Roy is motoring now, 30 from 17.
No, I don't think you're wrong. I think that was quite top edgy, but that's one of the shorter boundaries.
Beautifully played, but straight to the man. Game's looking in good order now.
This is what's going to be difficult for Kent in these middle overs.
Hold them.
10 runs from the first 4 balls in this over. That's more than what Surrey need. If they're just able to score 1 boundary and over, that asking rate is well under control. And with Parkinson having been expensive in his first over, is Billings going to bring him back in? Is he going to continue Jack Leaning, who doesn't often bowl his full allocation? Will they bring back the two Aussies earlier than they might have initially wanted to?
Again, timed effortlessly through the offside. He's been lethal through there. Yeah, if these two bat for 3/4 of this innings, then that run rate will be a doddle. It'll be a cakewalk. So Sam Billings will have to work out how much he dares to gamble here on his big seamers. It's well bowled. Bringing back one or perhaps both of his Aussie seamers to try and snaffle one of these. Surrey, of course, have plenty of depth in that middle order. Laurie Evans is in good nick. Smashed a 60-something from 24 balls. And this is it. It's hard to keep them under wraps here in these middle overs. Even a quiet over goes for double figures. These are boundary hitters, but they're also lethal between the sticks as well. 71 for 2 then, 9 gone.
We're currently going through the equivalent of the Mitchell Santner overs in the Kent innings, where he really applied the brakes. He only conceded 1 boundary from his 4 overs, and that was in his final over. Inning will continue from the Vauxhall end.
Yeah, and I think that makes sense. Pace off is perhaps the best way to go here. The problem for Matt Parkinson, artist as he is, on a pitch like this, which is true, you hang back, you wait for it. Cut away nicely behind square. That'll be another couple. Played on line.
Oh, well, a player known for his power. He's played real touch against spinners so far. Those 2 reverse sweeps, masterfully played against Matt Parkinson. Getting really low to cut that one behind square for 2.
And then the power shot again into space. Muyeye is quick. The boundary rider. And just a single. So Jason Roy probably been the batter of Surrey's campaign so far. Kicked off with a 92 against Somerset. Backed up with 69 against Glamorgan. 37 against Hampshire. Blew out in the previous game against Kent, but back in the runs here again. It's good to see in this new slot at first drop. Tossed up, slapped down to long off rather. Sam Curran more than content at the moment just to milk these middle overs. Surrey doing it okay at the moment. They know that if these two stay together for the next 7 or 8, then the game will be theirs. Big one in the slot. Thank you very much. That's huge. Oh, and another head thrown to the skies. When are they going to take one? Jason Roy into the 40s now.
That's a huge hit. That's gone 10, 15 rows back. You said earlier, Leaney is not often someone who bowls his full allocation, often used in matchups against left-handers, bowling to the right-handed Roy.
Under pressure now, 2 to go. Floats it again. Shows courage at least. Don't mind that from the bowler. He's saying, take me on again. Any slight miss hit, and that's a long boundary. It's a risk, of course, against someone like Jason Roy.
11 runs in the over with 1 ball remaining. Another good one for Surrey.
Yeah, it's
run rate below 9.
This is it. It's double figures every over at the moment. Curran advances, slices it, and it's into the gap. Daniel Bell-Drummond slightly on his heels, but I don't think he'd have made it regardless. Sam Curran gets away with one. halfway point. 83 for 2. And Eddie Cochran's on the DJs. How about that? 83 for 2. So the run rate's 8.3, of course, and the required run rate is broadly the same, 8.9. Surrey doing this very, very nicely.
Yeah, Surrey just ahead in the comparison at this point. Kent 77 for 1 after 10. Nearly a very big moment though. 11 runs off the first 5 balls of that over. Curran going aerial, the final ball of that over. Doesn't get hold of it, but fortunately for him and Surrey, it lands in no man's land. Loads of batting to come though for the home side. Laurie Evans, who was in spectacular form in the reverse fixture, 62 off 25. He's carded to come in next. Still got Tom Curran, Ollie Sykes, Chris Jordan, Mitch Santner and Nathan Smith carded to come in at number 10.
Sam Billings ringing the changes. He's bringing one of his key seamers back, Grant Stewart, back into the attack. Bowled one very good over initially. Bowled first up. The problem that they are preying on a mistake here. They don't have that incisive game changer with the ball. They have 3 very good seamers in Agar, Rogers and Stewart. And they have 2 useful slowies. But they don't have a magic bowler, the kind of bowler who we saw for Surrey that can turn an innings on its head. Slower ball slashed, backward of point, runs away, gorgeously played.
It's not an area that you necessarily immediately associate with Jason Roy, but he's been so good behind square and the offside, both against pace and seam. And what he's done really well is be precise in terms of where he's hitting the ball. He's not just instinctively cutting or reverse sweeping. He's very, very deliberately picking his spot. Now 46 off 25.
And that'll be it. A 26 ball 50. 3 sixes, 5 fours. Vintage Jason Roy. He's having a fabulous 2025 Vitality Blast. He's showing all of his class and his hunger as well. In a new role here at Surrey. And he's becoming their linchpin at first drop. What a knock.
He's been their main man with the bat so far this season. Third 50 in 5 games. That required rate, 8.42.
Slapped straight. And it's procession at the moment. These 2 international class white ball hitters. And the Spitfires, having started manfully with the ball, they have no answer just at the moment. They are preying on a mistake. And that's a dangerous place to be. Sam Billings trying to just shift the field, the angles, a touch. There's not much he can do at the moment.
Would you be tempted to turn back to Agar or Rogers, the 2 guys who made those early breakthroughs, bowled with good pace? 1 point Rogers, 86 mph.
Yeah, I would also not discount Matt Parkinson, because mad as that may sound after he got deposited for 15, if the game continues like this, more runs, more boundaries. Sam Curran's timing tonight has been immaculate.
Yeah,
the Grant Stewart experiment did not work.
It's a massive over. Massive
14 from that. And so the actual run rate now creeps up past the required run rate. So he's turning to big Wes Agar by the looks of things, or he's certainly having a conflab with his big Aussie quick.
Yeah, long conversation before the start of this over. Agar's taking his cap off.
I don't mind seeing the return of the big quick. I think that's essential now, really. It's do or die. But I don't mind another look at Matt Parkinson from the other end. All it requires is one slight miscue with the field out, with 4 men on the onside, and then you're back in the game. You have to try and persuade these two into a mistake. And a leg spinner is as good an option to do that as you're going to find. May not be his pitch, but it's worth a go. That's no help. But again, doff your cap to Jason Roy. As you say, Yaz, it's been a feature. He's hitting it in un-Roy-like places with un-Roy-like shots. But it's a sign of a man in rich form and at ease in himself. That was a gorgeous shot, perhaps the shot of his innings so far.
Well, he's been so quick with his feet. When Chris Jordan was bowling through the equivalent spell in the Kent innings, he was able to really cramp the Kent batters up for room. And Roy there, using his feet, generate a bit of width when there wasn't width. And with this field, no one back for Kent in front of square on the offside. You get it through the infield, it's 4.
Does he have the pace? Does he back himself to go with on the short ball? To explore the middle of the pitch, see what that may offer him. We've seen Sam Curran climb into a few this year, but also hole out once or twice as well to the bouncer ploy. Perhaps it's worth a go. Certainly as an option.
So a reminder that Surrey were 39 for 2 at the end of the power play. 5.2 overs later, they're on 102.
There it is. And he's not got much of it. There is the wicket. Wes Agar does bang it in, does play on the ego, and Sam Curran cannot resist. And so, having timed everything, he gets one off the splice and he has to go. This game shifts again.
Big moment, we were talking about it in the previous over. Was it time to bring on one of the two Aussie overseas who were so useful early up with a new ball? And this time Agar digs it in short, as you say, Phil. Curran took it on, doesn't get hold of it. Caught by long on, running in. And from nowhere, Kent opened the door. It's been one-way traffic for the past 5 or 6 overs.
So they want to get right after Laurie Evans right here. He's got 3 deliveries remaining. Get a slip in, get a couple in the ring. Really give this everything, Wes Agar. This is still Surrey's game. They still have plenty in the hutch. But get one more. Get Laurie Evans early, man in form. Coming off the back of that sparkling 60 from 24 in the corresponding fixture. Pushing in hard here, Agar. Have to bowl that one again. Don't mind the thinking, though.
Yeah, and Kent skipper Sam Billings looking to apply the squeeze. 5 men in the ring at the moment. Can have just 4 if you want.
It's not a long boundary that way, though, to the right-hander. Over the right-hander's shoulder. You don't need much of it at Agar's pace for it to fly. So it's a gamble. That's all good. The heavy ball rather than the bumper. So, 2 balls left in this over. Laurie Evans on naught. Little windows present themselves here at the Kia Oval against a crack Surrey side, and this is one of them. Driven elegantly as ever.
Ooh.
That would have been slightly tight. Looked to be completely in control, Laurie Evans, but there wasn't much in it. Anyway, we move on. So, an important final delivery. Does he dare go on the short ball to Jason Roy? The field would suggest Well, I was about to say that they would be playing with that idea, but now they've brought long leg up. No, they haven't. They've pushed him back again. So they do have 3 men out on the onside. Short it is. Nicked it, gone! Umpire's finger goes up. Jason Roy does not want to leave, but he's going to have to, I'm afraid. And is he peeved or what?
Yeah, Kent went up straight away. Innings and co. Celebrating straight away, not even really asking the question. Umpire raised his finger very quickly. We'll have a look at the replay now. Hard to tell from that.
It's hard to say. Clearly, there's a deviation. Of that, there's no doubt. Jason Roy is convinced that he's been dealt a bad hand by the umps. He may well have a case, but that's by the by. The fact is that Surrey, having been cruising 2 down into the second half of this innings, and the required rate coming under the actual rate, suddenly they've lost their 2 informed men, and they've got 1 man on 1 and another to face his first ball. 8 overs still to go, 68 still required. And from nowhere, Kent have flipped this game on its head.
Yeah, Ali at the back of the box suggesting that might have come off Jason Roy's shoulder as that flew through.
That's certainly what Jason Roy himself was suggesting. They've not had much from this umpire this evening. Ben Debenham from the Vauxhall end gave a wide in the final over against Will Jacks that Will Jacks was not too pleased about, and then the final delivery went for 4, so in effect that was 5 extra runs, and now a marginal goes against them. It's come a long way down. Oh, and I think it catches his arm on the throw. It does. He may be in some discomfort, but he does fight on. Tom Curran was running halfway down, 2/3 down, only to have to turn, and the throw hits the glove.
Sam Innings is...
He's appealed, has he?
He's appealed. He's come up to the umpire. The umpires are having a conversation.
No.
And there's nothing else they can be having a conversation about.
Other than obstructing the field.
Or potentially they are stricter on 5-run penalties for balls that hit batters, but given that Curran was out of his ground, I can't imagine they do that on this occasion. So that must be what they're talking about. But it looks like we're going to continue.
Yeah, we are. I don't think there was any suggestion whatsoever that Tom Curran was trying to impede the throw there. He was turning on his heels. He wasn't trying to get in the way of the throw or in the line of the throw. He can count himself fortunate that it careened into his arm. There's no damage done by the looks of things, which is a good result for him, of course. But I think that throw would have seen him go.
Well, it's been an eventful 5 minutes, but it's a 5-minute spell that's changed the feeling of the occasion. Both set men gone. Innings made the call to bring Agar back into the attack.
Flicked fine, but they have a man at fine leg. He's going to come back for 2 after a slight fumble by Gilchrist, and another one. He's got this time. Oh my! What is happening out here? Tom Curran does go. Dicing with death for a second time, and now he does perish. Laurie Evans was sure there was 2 in it. He was herring back to the striker's end. And Tom Curran found himself in no man's land, could not turn enough, and was out by yards. A bizarre passage of play. Perhaps the first one contributed to scrambling the mind in the second. So here we go. So Curran ambling, really. Couldn't believe there was 2 in it. Evans was under no illusions Billings on the throw, smoothly done. A lack of communication, and perhaps on Tom Curran's part, a lack of intent really on that first run. The upshot is that Surrey suddenly, after an over and a half of carnage, have lost 3 in quick succession, and they're 5 for 105. So another new man joins, Mitch Santner.
An over ago, Phil. Surrey were 102 for 2. They're now 105 for 5. 2 set men and Tom Curran out. Mitch Santner comes in at number 7, ahead of Ollie Sykes.
Ali Brown's at the back of the box. He's got the teapot on. Short. Well played, actually. Angled off the face. So it's going to be Rogers back into the attack. He was very impressive in his first spell. And he's going to try and maintain the stranglehold here in his third over. Bowled with pace as well. Really, really canny signing by Sam Billings, whose fingerprints are all over this one after they wintered well together in the Big Bash. Rogers doing it well here. Crowd are agog, you can sense it, you can hear it. Runs behind square. Santner is not going to do anything silly. He's just the kind of unflappable, steady heartbeat kind of cricketer that Surrey need right at this moment, because it's all gone slightly chaotic from nowhere, really.
It was the 2 naturally set batters. Both have attacking instincts. Both took on the short ball. And both fell to the short ball. First Curran, then Jason Roy. The run rate, required run rate, is still very, very manageable for the home side. 9 runs and over.
Short, fast and excellent. Rogers gets through another. 3 overs, 1 for 10 for him. Does Sam Billings keep Wes Agar on? No. He's going to bring, I think, Nathan Gilchrist back into the attack. Try and get a couple out of him. At this point where Surrey just have to play slightly conservative cricket, perhaps just take a breath and go again.
It's a really big moment in the game, this. Billings rolled the dice, brought on his 2 overseas quicks, and between them they've taken 3 wickets for 10 runs across their 2 overs. But with 7 overs remaining, those 2-star quicks only have 1 over left each. So from a Kent point of view, it needs to be backed up by the likes of Gilchrist, who's been relatively expensive so far, 22 from his first 2 overs. An extra cover in, really, really tight, preventing the single.
It's too much for me. I'm off. Ali Brown, it's over to you.
Yeah, you sense that this is a really big moment in the game. Ali, what have you made in the last 10 minutes?
I'd just like to say that it wasn't a teapot, it was a defensive folded arms. I mean, what an incredible phase of cricket. I wouldn't like to comment too much on the Jason Roy dismissal, apart from to say I think the dressing would have parted like Moses in the Red Sea. It's a bit like me if I ever got a decision I wasn't overly happy with. Once I did, my helmet was half the size it started, and at the end of the month I found that my salary I found what it taken out was the tax, national insurance and helmet. Just briefly getting back to the Tom Curran run out. I think what was important there was that actually the question is, was Tom actually diverting to block the ball? And the answer to that was no, he wasn't. There's nowhere else he could have gone. He is trying to get back to the crease as quickly as he can to cover his ground. He hasn't changed position. Would have been an interesting one with Sam Billings, because Sam Billings and Tom Curran actually play together in the 100. I think they certainly have done. But I think that was correct. But shortly after that, of course, Tom was run out.
Evans looking to scoop that towards fine leg, who is back, by the way. Q ends it for a single. I thought that was Billings very politely and calmly asked a question.
I think he probably got the luck he required off the over. I think if he'd gone back, I think the beer snake would have come out and the crowd would have been a bit fractious. But yeah, I think what is important, yes, there's 3 wickets going down in the middle, but Sam Billings has had to use his best bowlers to get that. So there will be at the back end of the innings, probably the last couple of overs, how he's trying to manufacture the last couple there.
Short. Got ball. No. Given wide. Belated call.
I think they've got to be fair to both sides. I think we had, when Surrey were bowling, there were some short balls that were, or some balls judged wide, which were borderline. I think they probably evened themselves out throughout the game. But they've just got to be consistent. Kent have used the short ball policy, and successfully so.
Santner throws it hands. The delivery with a bit of width. He picks up for his first boundary. Welcome boundary for Surrey. Their first in nearly 3 overs. Just as that required rate was approaching 12. We talked about Kent being very disciplined with their lines. Bit of width on offer that time from Gilchrist.
Yeah, any width has been punished. It's still a good wicket. You feel that Kent have thrown their best bowlers at this, and they bowled very well to bring the game back in the balance.
Better line this time from Gilchrist. 8 from the over.
I mean, the run rate is 9.5 and over, isn't it? So, you know, I don't think there's anything really to worry about there. If the run rate was 6 or 7s, you say that would be you coast that. I know they're 5 wickets down. You've got to take away. You've got to forget about the Jason Roy dismissal, and the run out. But I mean, look, Jason gets through it. You just feel from the reaction of both the players, his immediate reaction, and I think if you look at Laurie Evans at the other end, who was closer than we are, it looked as if it was back sleeve to me, but I'm not here to judge that. I feel that we've got is a great game in our hands, and you feel it really is in the balance.
Grant Stewart back from the pavilion end. Nudged into the leg side. Santner ran the first hard, but it will just be one. The whole equation is different to what it was 5 or so overs ago, when Surrey were pretty much scoring a boundary and over. Very few dot balls ahead of the rate, with plenty of batting to come. Now the asking rate is towards 10s. They're 5 down as well. I know they bat deep, but a risk calculation is slightly different when you're 5 down.
I appreciate that they're probably a couple of wickets further down than they would want to be for whatever reason, and but you still feel it's not a question of panicking. I feel when they played Hampshire, I feel yes, okay, that run rate needed to get higher, and it was a wicket that wouldn't demand that. But here, you'll pick up your ones virtually every ball. You only need 1 boundary and over, and you're up on the scoring rate, and there's plenty of batting to come.
Short and nailed. Hit so hard. That deep square leg boundary, as flat as 6 as you're likely to see.
I think the efforts in the crowd for the Kia 6 after the T-shirts went round at halfway would have brought more catches, but again, the boys are hitting it very flat and hard. You're going to have to work for your £1,000 if you...
Well, speaking of Kia, that car was in trouble. 5 yards to the right. Could have been a very expensive 6 for Laurie Evans. He went well against Kent last week.
Oh my word.
Oh, that's huge. That has gone so far. An almighty blow from Laurie Evans. Wonderful form last week. Is that caught on the crowd?
Well,
I don't think so, judging by the reaction.
The body language, I'd say it's if I raise the ball in the seat. Great shot.
What a shot.
So again, the EV3 there just missed.
But
So 500 each for one hand and one bounce.
not sure that's in the T's and C's.
No.
But those
Do an adjudicator around the ground. You actually, I mean, like you have a sort of a hole in one on a par 3 for a car. I mean, is there someone there? It goes, yes, that was definitely in.
short ball was working for Gilchrist and Rogers and Agar. Hasn't worked for Stewart. Back-to-back sixes. That required run rate back to 8.25 runs and over. Full and straight, but nudged into the leg side for one. There was an interview that my colleague Katia did with Tom Banton over the winter, where he said he's learned over the last couple of years in T20 cricket, you are only ever 2 balls away from catching up. And that required run rate, you look at it, nearly at 10, you're 5 wickets down, you could panic. Surrey haven't panicked here.
How do you look at it? You know, I would look at it and go, what, 1 boundary and over and 5 singles, and that's getting you 9 and over. So you will have, with momentum, you'll probably get back-to-back boundaries or 2 or 3 boundaries and an over. Similarly, you'll have your times where the bowler might bowl well, deceive you, and you might get a few dot balls. So you can't worry too much. And the problem is, where players get in trouble, is when they overhit because they think they're too far behind. So how, you know, they talk about having your head in the fridge when the going gets hot and making sure that you're cool under pressure. And you know, but Laurie Evans has come off a very good innings at Canterbury last week. He's in good form. And he's one of those players that you could, you know, he's spent a lot of time actually opening the batting, in, whether it's the Manchester Originals or others. So, you know, he's used to short pitch bowling. He's used to swing up there, and as he showed last week, he scored very, very well against Kent down at Canterbury.
Big moment this. Wes Agar is back into the attack for his final over of the evening. 3 for 22 from his 3 overs. Field set for more short stuff, Ali?
Yeah, I think Laurie will pick as a proactive player. He'll know what he thinks is coming. It won't all be short because if you come predictable, you know, it's a case of, yes, you've got your fine leg there and your deep square leg, but he'll know that anything behind square towards the JM Finn board down there, if you can just get inside it and get half of it sort of in to out, you'll get good value. And if he hits it square, he'll get 4 as well. So 5 yards either side of that player down there at third man, and he'll get a boundary.
It's timed nicely, but just a single. Santner very quietly 8 off 8.
I mean, there's plenty of batting to come for Surrey. So they bat a long way down. Dan Worrell has hit 6 first ball on more than one occasion, I believe. So I don't think they'll be looking for it to get that deep, but there's still plenty of batting to come. Ollie Sykes, I thought, said to you earlier, I thought he looked quite good for his 2 balls against Hampshire when they were trying to score more runs, and he timed them both very well. Just a bit unlucky not to get the elevation. So I'd be quite excited to see him come in and perhaps play a winning innings who have that opportunity tonight.
Oh, that could run away to the boundary. No, well fielded by Daniel Bell-Drummond at deep third. Santner squared up a little bit, outside edge, but just a single.
The Wes Agar's bowled very nicely tonight. It'll be they'll be happy to see the back of his 4 overs. I think he's bowled with good pace. He's hit the wicket hard, which is what you need to do on a good wicket, which this is. As I said, he's only got 3 balls left.
Another appeal. Again, it was initially quite half-hearted from Agar, but it was almost a crescendo of intensity.
Well, he heard nothing. There's the comment from there.
I think we can.
It looked like a deviation.
Yeah, deviation is the word I was going to use, Ali.
Potential glove, maybe. I couldn't tell from here, but there certainly was deviation.
Well,
some of their appeals have been stilted, haven't they?
Yes, they have. And actually, I was thinking about this earlier today in the World Test Championship final, how South Africa don't always go up particularly vigorously for LBW appeals. Pulled hard, just for one. Surrey were aggrieved with one decision earlier in the piece. I think Kent feel aggrieved there, so maybe things have levelled out. But quietly, good over this from Kent, 3 runs from it. But also, Surrey, we're looking at the equation, and it's been Agar and Rogers who've been the most effective Kent seamers. And with 4 overs and 1 ball remaining, Agar's got 1 ball left, Rogers has 1 over left. So it'll be interesting to see how Kent can manage those other 3 overs. Final delivery of Wes Agar's evening. Just be a single. Outstanding evening for Wes Agar. 4 overs, 3 for 26, including that double strike. Roy and Sam Curran in the same over. He's given his side a chance here with 4 overs remaining.
I think the question is, when are they going to bowl that one from Rogers? I mean, that's the one that I think Surrey will be more concerned about. But there's still, 3 overs where they, I think at this point you'll think, well, okay, if Rogers comes back, you're hoping to take him for 6 to 8, and the other bowlers you'll look to target 1 or 2 of them. As I said, wickets in hand, and the game in the balance.
It's interesting. It looks like Nathan Gilchrist will continue. So 4 overs remaining. Stewart has 1, Rogers has 1, Gilchrist has 1. So we'll need to see an over of spin if we get to the end.
That over from Parkinson or Leaning will be probably an over that Surrey would target for 15, I would say.
Especially considering that Surrey they've done well not to lose this 6th wicket here. So do have a bit of protection. They bat really, really deep.
Both of these strikers can really hit a big ball. Both Mitch Santner and Laurie Evans can hit that 6 in the over that's going to take you to a 12 over without having to do too much for the other 5 balls. So they've got plenty of power left in the hutch.
Hang on, only 3 in the ring here. Sam Billings alert to that. Brings mid-off in. Gets away with that Gilchrist. Evans frustrated with himself. Potential boundary opportunity there. Full toss on his pads.
It's funny, isn't it? You sort of set yourself for a ball that you think it's going to be, and then when it's something, if you go back to Ben Stokes in the World Cup final, he set himself for a ball that he didn't think it was going to be as probably the knee-high full toss that he actually got. And I actually played golf with him a couple of weeks afterwards and asked him about, what that was, and he was thinking he was going to push that for 2. But actually, it was a far worse ball than he'd imagined, that you could have clipped for 4 or 6 through the leg side.
If you're Kent here, would you go Rogers next over? Because you don't want to leave him too late. If Surrey have a big over here or the next one, the danger of using your star man when the game is 2 in favour of the opposition.
It's difficult. I mean, you want a wicket from Kent's perspective. If you get a wicket, then that would be a momentum changer. I'd probably bowl him next over.
Hit hard down the ground, 1 bounce 4. Brilliant from Evans. In the slot, you'd say, from Nathan Gilchrist. And Evans hasn't let this opportunity pass him by.
Yeah, but he's set now, isn't he? He's lining the ball up, and you feel that there is going to be that Surrey bowled the spinner last over. You wonder whether Kent might actually be left with the same scenario.
32 remaining, 20 balls left in the contest. Full toss, it's gone high, but not very far. Dropped, Leaning, sprinting in from long on, had a lot of ground to cover. Diving forward, he got there, but couldn't hold on to it.
Good effort. You felt he was going to get there. Sometimes, to be fair to him, it's difficult under the lights when the ball goes up quite high. It's a sort of ball that you just can't. There's also the thing that are you thinking, is the bowler running back to take this as well? And you have to keep your eye on the ball all the time. So he's sprinting in. Okay, he wants to half look at, is the bowler going to come as well? One you would have hoped he'd have taken.
Nails a Yorker, but squirted into the offside. Come back for 2. Brilliant running They wanted to from the moment it left the bat, and they're able to get it. 11 from the over for Surrey, 28 needed from the last 3. Yeah, just on that drop catch, Ali. By the time he gets to the ball, he's in the ring. He's covered so much ground. He's had to really sprint in.
It's difficult. I mean, I was on the coaching staff when we had a terrible accident at Moses Enriquez and Rory Burns. One was running in, one was going back. They both ended up in hospital. It was one of the most horrific accidents I've kind of seen. I mean, I didn't want to be on the scene in 10 seconds, but I was. And it was good that both of them survived it, really, because live it was horrible. And I think when it goes up, you're just running in, you're not looking at anything else, you're trying to hope there's a call. There is in the back of your mind, you're thinking, yeah.
It's not going to be Tom Rogers, it's going to be Grant Stewart. None for 33 off his 3 so far. What can he do for Kent? Full and straight. And again, real intent in the running between the wickets from these two. But Santner sent back at the last moment from Laurie Evans, and just in the nick of time for him to be able to get back into his ground. A good start from Stewart, just 1 run from that ball.
I think Kent would be happy if they get out of this over with 8. Surrey will be targeting a bit more, but they still do have 1 from the spinner and 1 from Rogers.
Yeah, Rogers in front of us at long off, going through his stretches. Oh, brilliant from Stewart again, full and straight. Excellent start to this over.
Now you know what Stewart's doing. It's the sort of, this is where you'd want an Ollie Pope or even a Dom Sibley or lots of players that actually, it's the ramp that when you look at the England T20 side, stops bowlers from actually bowling that sort of length.
That's very, very short. And Stewart slips in the follow-through. And that'd be one of the easier decisions that the umpires will make this evening, given why. On the ramp shot against Stewart, I guess the difference between him and the other Kent seamers, as we take a look at the replay here, Stewart, that's one of the shortest balls I've ever seen.
One of the easiest decisions for the umpire on the last half hour.
Yes, yeah. Yes. But sorry, my point about ramping Stewart is that if you look at his run-up, it's a shorter run-up than the other seamers. He's not quite as quick as the others. It's almost a little bit harder to generate the energy on the ball when the bowler is bowling closer to 77, 78 mph compared to the Aussies who are bowling closer to 85.
Players will, feel that they can adapt and change the shot. If you watch Joss Butler, he'll set for one thing. If it's not quite where he wants it to be, he can hit it somewhere else. So there's more than one shot to play. It is on if they were to play it, but
full and straight again. Hang on from Grant Stewart. When he's gone full this over, he's nailed it. And even though the Surrey batters might know what's coming, they've not been able to get him away just yet. 4 from 3 so far.
You're in Laurie Evans' shoes. Are you going to target that gap behind square? On the offside.
Exactly what he does. It's exactly what he does. Perfectly called from Ali Brown. He picks up 4. Pace off from Stewart. Evans gave himself a bit of room. He accesses behind square on the offside where there's no protection deep. Picks up 4. It's almost as if you played the game, Ali.
He's an experienced campaigner, that Laurie Evans, and quite right. He's reading the field. There's 2 on the leg side. If you knock it in there, there's probably, if you can get it square of mid-on, there's probably 2 there.
Nails a Yorker again. 4 out of 4 when he's gone full. The 2 change-ups have been costly. First the wide and then 4 over deep third. So talk us through why was that shot on?
You've got, well, you know what he's looking to bowl. If you give yourself some room, you can just go, if you go in to out, you can get it aerial, which he did. It was a slow ball, to be fair, and then you can work with the hands and go into out to get it in that gap.
Full toss, clothed by Santner, caught brilliantly by Rogers. Long on. Another excellent catch, diving forward.
The reason he's running forward is they know they're on the clock. So they don't have long. The cut-off is 2 minutes. And they've got to get through. They've got to start, I think, the next over, or the last over. The cut-off in 1 minute. But that's the reason he's... it's not like an arrogant sort of celebration. It's like, we need to get through this.
Timely breakthrough for Kent. That was a very good over for Surrey up until that point. Stewart going for the Yorker again, and actually the one time he misses the Yorker is when he takes the wicket.
That's it. He bowled the Yorker so well throughout the over that you're almost expecting him to do it. So when there is that looser ball, you haven't set for the ball that, you know, that could actually get hit into the crowd.
There is that cut-off time. It was 1 minute away.
What it does mean is the last over is going to be spin.
Yes, it does. It does. Tom Rogers, who has just taken an excellent catch to dismiss Santner on to bowl his final over. Put in straight, nailed down the ground. That'll be 4. Just misses his length, over pitches, full toss. Laurie Evans, seeing the ball so well, picks up 4 more.
85 miles an hour, and he said himself, I said if Surrey can probably get about 10 off this over and leave themselves 9 off the last, I think that would be something they'd be happy to chase. But if they can get more, even better. Laurie Evans giving himself some room and a great shot.
Umpires having a chat as the top clock ticks to 9:27, the official cut-off time. They're having a chat with the Kent skipper, Sam Billings. Let's keep a close eye on the umpires. No signal given yet.
Oh, what a shot.
That's delightful. Delightful from Laurie Evans. Talk us through it.
Oh, well, he's second guessed. He's got a lot of short balls, Rogers, and to good effect. So that's the proactive nature of what he's trying to do. Laurie's just thought he's given himself room. If it's any width, he's going to cut that because it's coming a little bit tighter to him. He's played a Marcus Trescothick-esque ramp over the keeper. Brilliant shot.
It's a pretty good delivery, actually, from Rogers. He follows Evans when he gives himself that room. Evans has taken that off his nose, really.
He's already, as a batter, you look at where the field are, and so you're already thinking, where am I? You're reading from that where you think that the ball might be, and where the field is set. He knows he's got a little bit on it, and he's done it very well.
Hot ball, well fielded by Rogers off his own bowling. So Kent currently have 5 fielders in the ring rather than the customary 4 at this point in the innings. That is because they've missed the cut-off. That was what that conversation was between the umpires and Billings a couple of deliveries ago. So less protection on the boundary for Kent.
And the spinner will be very unhappy. He's only got 4 in the deep.
It's the fielder, but they run through for 1. Very excited fans down below us. 10 required off 8.
It's really just one boundary, isn't it? One boundary. You'll pick up your should pick up your singles. I know there's one more in the ring, which will obviously give more chance of the boundary, but also more chance of the dot ball should you pick out the fielder.
Chris Jordan in at number 8 for Surrey. He's been in this position so many times before over the years. Mid off, mid on, and extra cover up. Jordan ducks under it. 10 off 7. The crowd like it.
field is set for that. You wonder whether Chris Jordan will give himself a little bit of room. You've got the 2 players on the offside are up. He's going to bowl very tight to leg stump.
Is this a bit of a free hit for Jordan?
Look, if it was me, I'd give myself a bit of room. If he gives you any width, you can flay it over there. I think it would probably be into the ribs.
Jordan does give himself a bit of room. It will only be a single. 9 required from the final over. Tom Rogers is done for today. An outstanding spell. 1 for 20 of his 4. Him and Agar, the 2 Aussies, 4 for 46 from their 8. What a job those 2 have done. And there's a proper committee meeting taking place on the outfield. The Kent think tank discussing how to go about this final over. Not only is there only 1 over remaining, but all the seamers have been bowled out, and they need an extra fielder in the ring because they've missed that cut-off time. They're supposed to start that final over by the cut-off time. They've missed it by 4 minutes.
Well, it's difficult because where do you put your fielders? You've got to have a deep mid on, a deep mid off is what they'll look to target. But you're only allowed 4, so deep mid wicket is going to be a play. It's difficult as a leg spinner because they're going to go with a man on the sweep as well.
Matt Parkinson, 2 for 19 against Surrey last week. None for 15 from his solitary over so far today. Bowling with just 4 men out. What a finish this could be. Bowling to Chris Jordan.
Anything over the 30-yard circle is likely to be 4.
And there's no protection deep. Square of long off.
The offside for a leg spinner. I know he bowls it slowly. Not sure quite how CJ is going to play, but I think if Laurie Evans gets down there, I think he'd like to use his feet, aim it deep mid off, a bit of into out, where you probably want to hit the leg spinner.
What you would say, obviously the cards in Surrey's favour at the moment, but this is an unusual situation for the last over. And
they are, but you know, if he can bowl a couple of dot balls, then that momentum changes. We'll be looking for at least a runner ball and 1 boundary. 2
fielders really in tight in front of square. Mel Drummond at mid-wicket. Gilchrist extra cover. And there's the first dot ball. Lots of air from Parkinson. Above the eye line. Jordan took it on, but doesn't get bat on it. 9 off 5. Lost up again, that's gone high up into the air. Extra covers running round, and it's fallen in the gap. Oh, so close to a 7th breakthrough. But crucially, it's only 1 run, so suddenly Surrey need 8 off 4.
Okay, so 2 trains of thought. He'd either sit back and try and hit it square on the leg side, or press and try and use his feet and go over extra cover.
He's been seeing the ball so well, Laurie Evans, but the pace here is just completely different to what we've seen so far. Parkinson giving it so much air.
1 punch over extra cover could be the game changer.
4 men in the ring on the offside, 3 of them very square of the wicket. Use his feet, driven down the ground. The leading cuts it off that long on. They come through for 2. 6 required off 3.
If you can just get inside the ball, you fancy the 6 is on. He's got to be quick on his feet.
We hit that last one firmly. For a second I thought he might run away for 4.
A good target deep mid off.
Now,
And go either side.
ticks off 3. Gives himself room, doesn't get hold of it. And it'll just be 1. Evans off strike with 2 balls remaining. Matt Parkinson, what a job he's done for his team. 4 runs off the first 4 balls of the over.
Is this set for an Az Mahmood last ball? I actually bumped into Azza 2 days ago for the first day in I've done about 5 years when we were shopping. So yeah, an ironic twist when he had 5 dot balls and hit the last ball for 6 against Gloucester a few years ago. Even a single here to get Laurie Evans on strike would be a good call.
I would say though,
Get bat on ball.
it's quite a difficult bowler to get a single off with the lack of pace. Fielder's close, particularly that man at mid-wicket.
Price the tie.
It's a good question. It's a good question. 5 off 2. Parkinson to Chris Jordan. Crossed up, driven down the ground. Oh, brilliantly fielded again from Rogers.
2.
2, 3 to win off the last. 2 for the tie. It's just a tie if it's a tie, by the way, folks. No super over. This will be the last ball of the innings.
He's asking for a runner. Or a bat.
I think he's asking for a bat.
Yeah. Bring me the big one. A boundary hitting one. Isn't this the sort of game that just keeps you coming back?
Oh, it's brilliant. And also looking at the picture in front of us, pretty much a full house here on a beautiful mid-June evening. 3 international quality players on display, 3 to win, 1 ball remaining.
It's had everything, and with Chris Jordan's bowling performance, would it be a more fitting boundary hitter?
Also a word for Matt Parkinson.
All options available. I wonder if he'll stop for the backing up.
Crowd roars them on. Parkinson to Jordan. 3 to win, 2 to tie.
He's got it!
Into the leg side.
To the leg side!
4! It's Jordan does it! Hero with the ball, hero with the bat. Surrey get over the line off the last ball of the game.
What a game of cricket. I mean, for Chris Jordan, you couldn't have a better game. His bowling absolutely fantastic. 4 for 10 off 4 overs. And off the very last ball to pinch the gap between deep mid-on and deep mid-wicket. What a game of cricket.
This is the blast at its very best. A game that's ebbed and flowed throughout. And Chris Jordan holding his nerve at the very end. He's seen it all. But against the leg spinner Parkinson, who those figures don't do him justice, because with 9 runs to win off the last over, spin not expected to play a part at the end, but Kent had to get their seamers through their overs earlier, given how far ahead Surrey were in the game. Parkinson had to bowl that last over with only 4 fielders allowed out because Kent missed the cut-off time. It's such a good job to get them back into it. But in the end, it wasn't quite enough. Surrey get home off the final ball.
I think that's what T20 is all about. I mean, we've seen some phenomenal bowling performances. It's ebbed and flowed, both innings. You know, there was power at the start, there was a bit of a lull in the middle, and then power at the end. And to have a finish like that with all results possible, couldn't have been a better game of cricket.
Word for Laurie Evans.
Yeah, look, he's back-to-back. He had 60 down at Canterbury. He's been a thorn in Kent's side for the last 2 weeks. And I think that penultimate over, those 2 boundaries that he hit were the game changer at a time when it was really in the balance.
Yeah, 100%. Hit the first 2 balls of that Tom Rogers penultimate over, 4-4. Those 2 Aussie seamers for Kent, so good. Combined figures of 4 for 46 between them off their 8 overs. Set the tone with a new ball. And as Curran and Roy threatened to pull away from Kent, it was Agar brought on earlier than we perhaps expect. Took 2 in the over. First Curran, then Roy. Here's the card. Here's the card. Kent struck twice early on. Jackson Sibley falling for 6. Roy and Curran not just got Surrey back into it, but actually when those two were motoring along, Surrey were cruising, then it was that Agar burst, then the run out of Tom Curran in the following over. Curran dismissed without facing a ball, actually. Got Kent back into it. Evans and Santner reconsolidated for a period before Evans accelerated. Parkinson then brought Kent back into it, and then Chris Jordan at the very end. Don't go anywhere, folks, by the way, because we're going to get Chris Jordan, hero with bat and ball, 4 for 10 off his 4 overs on the feed with an interview very shortly. A reminder that Jordan finished with career best figures of 4 and 10. He bowled so well today.
He was fantastic. I mean, look, on the batting department, Jason Roy, the 56, has been fantastic in every T20 they've played this year. I know he didn't really get in for the first 8 or 9 overs down at Canterbury, but every other game, the white ball's really been sensational for him. Laurie Evans, back-to-back match-winning scores, but take nothing away from them. Was quite clearly one standout player of the match. You've had Mitch Santner play really well, but what Chris Jordan, CJ, brought today was something very special. With the ball, it's about as good a T20 bowling as I've seen for many a year, and with the bat, enough power to clear or to get to the rope, take Surrey to the 4 points that they desperately need.
Well, a wonderful game in isolation, but such an important result in the context of the South Group. These two sides coming into this game, having each play 4 and 1-2 each, with the top 3 going so well. Who knows how pivotal this game and this result might be come the end of the season. We're going live to Chris Jordan.
Man of the moment, Chris Jordan. I'm with the man of the moment here, Chris Jordan, after winning that match with that incredible shot off the final ball, and who can forget his bowling effort as well. CJ, cool as you like, that final ball. What was going through your head?
Well, I looked at the score. Obviously, we needed 3 off the last, so made sure I get back on ball, and obviously it was there, so I just swung through it, and yeah, nice to get the team over the line.
There were lots of runs in that pitch, so your bowling performance truly impressive, 4 for 10. Pleased with that, I imagine.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, obviously I thought we did well to restrict them to 170. Maybe they got maybe 10 runs too many, but we thought it was a good enough pitch that we can chase down, and I thought all the bowlers did a great job.
And after a bit of a slow start for the top order, it feels like things are clicking now with J. Roy continuing his good form, Laurie now with back-to-back scores. All seems to be coming together quite nicely for the guys.
Yeah, I think the beauty is that we're winning in slightly different ways. So the first 4 games, we had to bat first and defend scores. Tonight is the first night we bowled first and had to chase down a score. Probably would have liked to chase it down a little bit earlier, but that's life, that's T20 cricket, and the most important thing is that we got over the line.
And a word for these guys here, Thursday night at the Kia Oval with a game like that doesn't get better, does it?
Yeah, there's no better place, man. The crowds every year are unbelievable. The support for us is unbelievable, and yeah, it was nice to hear that cheer on the last ball tonight.
Yeah, well, talking of cheers, Kia Oval, one more time, give it up for our player of the match, Chris Jordan.
No surprise, Chris Jordan, today's player of the match. 4 for 10 off 4 overs with the ball. Career best figures with the ball, but this moment with the bat is what will stay in the memory for the longest. 3 required off the last ball. Matt Parkinson gave it some air, and actually the ball turned quite a lot. He struck that so firmly and so precisely through the gap too.
He took the pace off, and you know that's a ballsy thing to do, but actually that's his strength. And really, that could have gone straight up and could have been the Kent win if he hadn't got hold of it. But I think just the whole way that the game panned out, and Chris Jordan did not deserve to be on the losing side tonight.
Not at all. A wonderful evening here at the Kia Oval that will live long in the memory. That's it from me, Rana, Ali Brown and Phil Walker. Cheers for joining us, folks. We'll be back for Surrey's next home fixture in the Blast.